Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. We're actually here with day 2 of the group stages of Apprentice Code S. Got quite a few great matches for you guys coming tonight. We have Vindicta versus Dolan, Riser versus Temeris, Vindicta versus Riser, Riser versus Dolan, Vindicta versus Temeris, and then we'll close out the night with Dolan versus Temeris. So quite a few matches tonight. No Zergs in tonight's group, so bummer there. But there are enough Terrans in this group to, I feel like, give the lone Protoss a run for his money. So thank you everybody for tuning in today. Just going to point this down a little bit. So like I said before, Vindicta versus Dolan is our first match. And our first map is going to be Lightshade. You guys came here to watch StarCraft, so let's get into it. It is loading up now. Dolan versus Temeris, a TVP. Let's get into it. Alright, so we are in the game, looking at our Red Terran from the United States of America. Couldn't find anything about his team on Wikipedia, but you could still root for him. It's Dolan. Down in the bottom right, I'm sure you've heard of him. He's from Team Alpha X. He's also known as many other aliases, one of them being Vindicta. It's Vindicta. So, a TVT to begin today's matches. Pretty exciting if you ask me. TVT is a very exciting matchup, and it's currently sitting in a very nice place in the meta right now. These are best of 3s all the way through today, is a round robin format. So we're really not going to see too much going on right now. Both players are pretty much just building up. Both players are going double gas. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Reaper from both players to start this out. Reaper goes down for Dolan, so his Reaper will be a little bit quicker. And Vindicta actually was going a Marine and then canceled it and decided to go Reaper instead. So Dolan's Reaper will be just a tiny little bit faster. Really, it's not going to matter much considering he's going to be sending it across the map to Vindicta's base. Vindicta's Reaper should be out in time. If you were watching yesterday's matches, we did have Group A. There was quite a few great matches yesterday, so I definitely suggest going and checking out the VOD on that. It is on my Twitch channel. And I also uploaded it to my YouTube, so you can do the exclamation mark YouTube and chat, hit that link, and go and check that out later. So we got a Reaper versus Reaper battle here, with SCVs in the middle of the map. And it does look like Vindicta's going to get Nolan's Reaper here. Nope, he does get away. Command Center goes down for Dolan. And we got a factory here with a tech lab here for Vindicta, so we're either going to see a tank, or we may see some Widow Mine play. Of course, Dolan's Command Center is just a little bit faster than Vindicta. Seems to be the tail of this game. Dolan just a little bit quicker on his build than Vindicta. Their Cyclones are actually going to be what both players decide to do here, so I was actually wrong. No tanks or mines. Thus is the nature of TVT. So we're probably going to see Cyclone versus Cyclone for a while, and then we'll transition into more of like a bio tank force. Dolan's starport is significantly faster than Vindicta's. Not much really going on right now. Vindicta does have a Reaper lead now, 3 Reapers to 2, but both are kind of sitting around. And as I say that, Vindicta's going to send his Reapers in here, and he's got to see the Cyclone, but he loses 2 Reapers to it almost immediately. He does get a full scout, though, of Dolan's base, so he gets a nice little view of everything. Sees the factory, sees the barracks, and the starport, so he knows the timings on everything there. And it looks like Dolan's going to be actually the first one to get a Raven out here. So significantly faster Raven out of Dolan. Both are even just about on SCVs, and it comes to workers at this moment. The only difference I'm really seeing here is Vindicta is deciding to get tanks. Well, it's deciding to go a little bit heavier in the tanks, it seems. Dolan is still getting tanks, so it looks like they're actually going both for pretty much the same build. Just Vindicta is just a little bit slower. 6 Marines to 10 Marines. On Vindicta has the Marine lead right now. Dolan has 2 tanks to 1 tank. So Dolan just seems to, you know, be favoring the tanks a little bit more, while Vindicta is preferring to have a higher Marine count. Vindicta is deciding to leave some units here in this tall grass. Maybe catch something moving out, maybe a Reaper, or maybe even scout a medevac drop. Dolan seems to be preparing himself for something here, as he's got these units over here on patrol. Vikings on the way for Dolan. So maybe Dolan feels like he wants to have the air superiority in this fight. Especially in TVT matches, where pretty much everything is based upon what you could see with your siege tanks. Having the superior air count in the air will definitely give you an edge when it comes to tank-on-tank battles. So, Dolan is moving out, though. 4 tanks to 2, so this could be pretty dicey here for Vindicta. Dolan is deciding to be a little bit cautious, not go straight through the middle of the map. Looks like he's going to stick over there in about the center of the map there and wait for the perfect time to move out here. More tanks on the way for Vindicta. He's still heavily behind in tanks. He's now 3 tanks to 4 tanks, and more tanks are on the way for Dolan. So having a higher tank count is definitely going to help you in TVT, and also having the Viking superiority is putting Dolan in a great spot. He can scare away medevacs pretty much with ease, considering he has a lot more in the air than Vindicta at the moment. Vindicta is trying to get this medevac, though, into Dolan's base. So he kind of waited for the units to go around. Vindicta probably thought he was heading back to his main base, but no, Vindicta turned around, and now he's going to come back in. It looks like with 6 Marines in the medevac, so he's going to drop those into the main. Meanwhile, Dolan's about to come in here and attack Vindicta at his natural expansion. Vindicta gets a nice siege up, but Dolan's already on top of all these tanks. 3 SCVs going down over here in Dolan's base, but now Dolan's encroaching upon the natural expansion of Vindicta. And Vindicta really doesn't got much right now. He's got 1 Cyclone, a couple Vikings, and a Marine. And it looks like he may have to pull the SCVs here. Tank's getting some really great volleys down on the SCVs. 7 SCVs going down. Vikings are being landed here. SCVs try to surround them, but of course, Vikings could turn back to air units, so good on Dolan there for babysitting his Vikings and not letting them get surrounded by the SCVs. 3rd base is down for Dolan, and GG. Vindicta calls it, and Dolan goes up 1-0 in this best of 3. So game number 1 goes to Dolan in pretty convincing fashion. And it looks like game number 2 is going to be on Romanticide. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I am Morvox. I do some casting for Alpha X, and I also did the NA Apprentice up and down matches. They are on my Twitch page and my YouTube page, so feel free to check them out. I'd appreciate it. Any follows you guys can give, greatly appreciative. I am a community caster. I do not get paid to do this. And game 2 looks like we're ready to go. It is on Romanticide, so let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, we are up. Up here in the top left, the current teamless Terran from the United States of America, it's Dolan. And down here in the bottom right, our blue Alpha X Terran, it's Vindicta. So both players are pretty much going to be just building up supply depots and getting their first barracks at this point. We don't necessarily need to talk about that. Let's talk about predictions. Is there anyone in chat maybe that wants to maybe throw down some predictions? Who they think is going to win this? Does anybody have hope for Vindicta here to come back? He's going to have to win 2 games in a row against Dolan in order to take the series. Vindicta, however, is a favorite in this match, at least personally. Coming off DreamHack. Dolan is proxying a barracks over here, so very, very sneaky here out of Dolan. Considering he's up 1 game, he can get away with it. Why not? I also love how he's keeping 1 barracks in his main base to kind of make things look like he's not doing it. Oh, he's doing it. There's 2 barracks over here, and you couldn't be more doing it than this. Meanwhile, there's another proxy barracks over here from Vindicta. Only 1, though, so not as aggressive as Dolan. So we're going to see some early game cheese from both players. And it looks like they're both going Reapers. So proxy Reapers out of both players. Dolan's going to come up here and see the barracks. Oh, nothing going on there. Just 1 barracks. What he doesn't know, though, is I'm pretty sure Dolan's going to rally up a couple of these Reapers. And it looks like Vindicta's doing the same thing. Reapers and SCVs everywhere, it seems. But no one's attacked each other yet. Out go the Reapers from Dolan, so he's going to send them to Vindicta's base. And at the moment, there's nothing really there. He's not going to see a natural expansion, which is what he's poking in to see right now. But in the main base of Vindicta, there's nothing there. Meanwhile, on the other side, Vindicta is getting damage done. He gets an SCV. And he's building a bunker. So, a little bit of a bunker rush here in the main with these Reapers. Gonna get a couple SCVs. Meanwhile, on the other side, it seems like we're almost in the same exact situation. No bunker, though, here from Vindicta. He is instead deciding to go factory to counter this. Lots of SCVs going down for both players. And this is nuts. We already have 8 SCVs going down for Dolan and 7 for Vindicta. And it's really going to be who kills all the SCVs first. It's a very odd game, too, here out of Dolan and Vindicta. Proxy Reapers everywhere. In each other's bases. There's command centers floating across the map. Factories and barracks. Right now we're seeing 7 Reapers against 5. So Dolan does have a superiority when it comes to the Reapers. And he is actually still building them. So that's actually a big win there for Dolan. If Vindicta's not building anything right now. His production is 0 right now. Nothing's happening. And Dolan is putting his SCVs inside his command center to protect them, which is actually really smart. Considering Dolan has the Reaper superiority here. Dolan's going to jump in here, but he's going to take a hit from the grenade. That bunker is going to severely help Vindicta. It's such a weird and precarious situation both players are in right now, considering they both proxy Reapered each other. And now Vindicta's flying his base to Dolan's base, and vice versa. So, very strange opening here from both players. 9 Reapers to 5, so you guys know what that means. Being 4 Reapers ahead is in a base race is pretty much going to put you in a position where you almost can't lose. Dolan's going to have to be careful, though, of that bunker. Doesn't want to engage too close and maybe lose a Reaper or two. And Dolan is mining again. Vindicta doesn't even have a command center. I'm sorry, here is his command center. Right here in my face. So, he's going to float this command center over, but he can't really land it because the Reapers are going to do a ton of damage. And he can't lose that. It's his only command center. And I don't think Vindicta knows about this this mining base over here. He doesn't. He hasn't seen it yet, but he's going to see it now. And he's going to be able to kill these SCVs. Dolan does put one of his SCVs in his command center, and I like how he unloaded it as soon as Vindicta ran by. So good play there from Dolan. And look at this. The mule train is here. As soon as he throws down those mules, Dolan's in there with all of his Reapers. Vindicta's forced to lift up again. But Dolan has this mining base over here, and every time Vindicta comes over here with his Reapers, Dolan's just going to corral his SCVs into his command center. Of course, he could defend him with a superior Reaper count. But it does look like Vindicta's building again, so that's good for Vindicta. Because we're now sitting at 7 Reapers to 9. Dolan is chasing these Reapers down. And it's looking like he's going to get them. At least one of them. And Vindicta loses 2 Reapers. While simultaneously sending Reapers over here. Nice pull there from Dolan, saving his 2 SCVs. Every SCV counts in this situation. 9 Reapers to 6 Reapers. Dolan is favored right now, considering he is mining quite a bit more. Actually, with that mule, though, Vindicta may be pulling ahead here as far as income goes. Reaper versus Reaper battle here. 7 Reapers to 6. Such a close fight. Such a strange battle here in game number 2. Every Reaper Dolan loses, though, and every Reaper Vindicta loses, is putting them further and further behind and possibly losing the game. And I think Dolan may have overextended there, losing quite a bit. GG. And Vindicta ties it up, 1 apiece. So a very strange game number 2 there out of Dolan and Vindicta on Apprentice side. Both proxy Reapering each other until basically one of them called GG. So game number 3 is going to be on 2,000 atmospheres. Let's go ahead and finish up series number 1 of today's Group B. And welcome everybody to 2,000 atmospheres. Where we're sitting at 1 apiece for Dolan and Vindicta. Down in the bottom left, a red Terran, currently teamless. It's Dolan. And in the top right, playing for Alpha X, it's Vindicta. So I don't think we're going to see proxy barracks again out of both these players, at least in this series. I'll be just going to see a straight up macro game out of both players. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Not much going on right now. Dolan's barracks just a little bit quicker than Vindicta's. 2 gas to 2 gas. Does look like Dolan's going to get a little bit faster of a scout off. So about that, that's really the only difference here I'm seeing so far in this game. It's going to be another minute or so before the tech paths open up for both players. Please feel free to say hi in the chat if you're watching. I am monitoring the chat. Give me a follow. Give me something. Let me know you guys are alive out there. This is the NA Apprentice Code S. So these are your American heroes. This Reaper is going to get an SCV right out the gate. Both factories are about even on building time here. Dolan is deciding to keep his Reaper back, though. Probably waiting for a certain time period so that he can go and check for the natural expansion. Dolan is, however, expanding a lot quicker than Vindicta. But Vindicta, though, he's building Hellions, so... I have seen Vindicta do this Hellion build before. So he will decide to get it just a tiny bit later of a command center. So he can squeeze out this Hellion. And then he'll take these 2 Reapers and this Hellion out, and he's going to try to do as much damage as possible with it. Looks like there was a pause there. And it looks like Vindicta was all set with whatever he needed to fix. And he's going to jump in here. Dolan is going to jump in here with these Reapers. And these SCVs are under fire now. This Hellion is going to come over here and defend this, though. Two workers go down for 2 Reapers. I would not say that that was an effective attack at all from Dolan. And now Vindicta's moving out on the map with his double Hellion, double Reaper build. Starport is a lot faster here out of Dolan. It's also his siege tanks. So it's been the tale of this series, Dolan just being a little bit quicker on his build orders than Vindicta. Vindicta did decide to tighten his build order a little bit to squeeze out double Hellion. So it helped him in the defense there. But at the moment, all he's really doing now is getting map presence. He's getting the map vision he needs on the map so that he can see when Dolan decides to move out. Besides that, they're not really being that useful. First medevac here on the way for Vindicta. And a Raven is the choice for Dolan. This game isn't really, not really aggressive from either player here. One dropship decides to go out, filled with a tank and 4 Marines. So Vindicta's going to try to get aggressive here with this little drop. Most likely he's going to drop the tank over here. Seems to be the spot to go on 2,000 atmospheres for a TVT. At least when it comes to tank drops. 2 tanks to 2 tanks for both players. And in comes a drop for Vindicta. He actually decides to drop the tank and the Marines inside the natural of Dolan. He lifts out and gets out of there. Doesn't really accomplish much there. I felt like if he would have dropped his tank here and then dropped here, he may be able to have done a little bit more damage. Another command center going down for Vindicta. So Dolan, once again, his third command center is a lot quicker. It just seems more and more the longer this goes, Dolan just inches a little bit further ahead every time. And hey, thanks for saying something in chat. I'm glad that there's someone in here watching this. These are going to be some great games today. And Dolan's deciding to move these tanks over here to his third base so that he can bring his command center down. Meanwhile, Vindicta, his third command center is only halfway complete. Does Dolan have stim? No, he didn't. So, at the moment, Vindicta's got a lot faster stim than Dolan. Dolan, though, being significantly farther ahead in economy. At least when it comes to bases, Vindicta does have a slight SCV lead. But until he gets that third base down... Oh my God! Thanks for the follow, man. I greatly appreciate it. Barracks is going to fly over here to the left side. You know, just a spot for drop ships. You know, Terrans love to drop each other all the time. It's a thing. So he's going to keep this barracks over here to spot for drop ships that are coming in. One thing I am noticing, though, is Dolan is going double factory, while Vindicta is only going one factory. So Dolan is going to get a significantly higher and faster amount of tanks when compared to Vindicta. And Vindicta's going to see that with the scan. And Vindicta is just now moving his third base down. Thanks for watching, man. I greatly appreciate it. These two Marines are going to take out this one Marine. Other than that, there really isn't much going on the map right now. Both players are kind of powering up at the moment. Double starport is going down for Vindicta, so will we see a battlecruiser transition here? Both players are going Vikings. Let's take a look at the Viking count here. 7 Vikings for Vindicta and 8 Vikings for Dolan. 8 tanks to 6 in Dolan's favor. So right now, Dolan is sitting in a very nice spot, both economically and as far as his army is going. 75 army supply to 59, so he is heavily in the lead here when it comes to the size of his army. Vindicta is deciding to go heavy anti-air. He's going 4 Liberators at a time. Smart decision. Yes, there is a bracket for today's games. I will bring it up when we go into the chat after this game. I can tell you who's in the bracket right now. Vindicta, Dolan, Riser, and Temeris. So those are the players in today's bracket today. Or sorry, today's group. And it is round robin format, so all the players will play each other. So we will see lots of games this evening. 3 Terrans and 1 Protoss, so no Zerg tonight, which is kind of a bummer. But something interesting that's coming out of Vindicta, though, that I actually haven't seen in a TVT in a while, is that he's getting Blue Flame. Blue Flame was really, really big back in the days of MLG. You couldn't see a single game of Terran without seeing Blue Flame Hellions. Currently, we're sitting at 12 tanks to 8, so Dolan is heavily in the lead when it comes to tanks. And both players are just kind of checking each other out, trying to determine, hey, what are you doing over there? I was really hoping that Vindicta was going to go battlecruisers, but he's not. Deciding to go Liberators instead. And these Hellions are just kind of camping out here in the middle. I really wish Dolan would be just a little bit more active with them. I guess he really doesn't want to run them into siege tank fire if he doesn't have to. Takes out one of his own Hellions there. And Dolan looked like he wanted to move out there for a moment. He did pull back, changed his mind. But that is so many tanks. Oh my goodness, so many tanks. 14 tanks to 10. Like, that is just a ridiculous amount of tanks. It's almost... His whole army is almost tanks at this point. Tanks and Vikings. Sorry, I gotta take a drink of water here. So Vindicta's gonna send this medevac here across. See what he can find out. He's gonna see all these tanks. And wow, I bet he was like, holy crap, that's a lot of tanks, dude. So, at the moment, Vindicta's back to building tanks. So, he knows he needs to get his tank count up. He is building 3 Liberators at a time, building 2 Command Centers at a time. So, he's definitely powering up at the moment. Vindicta is achieving Super Saiyan at this point, but is it too far here? So, I feel like Dolan here, he's on Super Saiyan 3. He's got like 21 tanks. I mean, you engage into him, and you're going to take a crap ton of damage. And we're going to get an engagement here over on the right side. So many Vikings and so many Liberators. Liberators doing great against the Vikings, actually. Lots of these tanks are going down. It's just, is there enough anti-air here out of Dolan? Did he build too many tanks? And it looks that way, because Dolan loses every single Viking in that engagement. His air superiority is destroyed. And the tanks are forced to retreat now. And Vindicta's in a spot now that he may be able to even this game up. Exactly. 7 tanks to 7 tanks. So, he is back even again, but now Thors are a part of the mix, so they will help a little bit with the Liberators and the clumped up Vikings. And Dolan is moving across the map here. He lost a lot in that last engagement. He may feel like he has to attack now. Vindicta is ahead in about 7 army supply. They're pretty even on SCVs right now and bases, even though Vindicta is pulling ahead now with this base over here on the top left. Dolan needs to get something done. He lost a lot in that last fight. He committed so much to tanks, and he pretty much lost everything, except for just, what, 6 tanks now? 7 tanks? He only has about 6 Vikings left, so he needs to make something happen here. They are tied 1 apiece, so whoever takes this takes the series. And Dolan, he's doubling down on the Thors. He's building 2 Thors at a time. So maybe he thinks Thors are the answer here. Yamato cannon on the way for Vindicta. So we will see battlecruisers ready to fleet, because the battlecruisers are on their way. Dolan's going to take out these rocks over here. It's going to help with the pathing here. Force reinforcements. And it seems like both players are really getting into their comfort zone as far as TVTs go. Both are pretty much building whatever they want at this point. 199 supply to 176 in favor of Dolan. And Dolan's moving out here. He's going to siege up all these tanks, and he's got quite a bit of Thors to defend them. So, one correction here by Dolan. Thanks, Blog, for the follow. Appreciate it. And there's actually quite a bit going on all over the map. There's red and blue moving everywhere. And Dolan's putting down a lot of fire into Vindicta's 5th base over here. That is a very forward base there from Dolan. He does have his army over here to protect it. But that could be a point of contention later in this fight. Command Center finally goes down for Vindicta. And Dolan's in this position now where he could pull ahead economically. 76 SCVs to 76 SCVs. 108 army supply to 114. Vindicta is in the lead as far as army goes. A couple of Hellions sneak in over here. The Liberators quickly take them out. So, good defense there from Vindicta. And both players are kind of posturing right now. Battlecruisers. They're on their way. They're going to be coming out here in about 1 minute. There will be battlecruisers on the map. Vindicta may decide to move out at that time, considering he is just about maxed. Meanwhile, I don't think there's any battlecruisers on the other side. Dolan doesn't have anything. He just has 22 Vikings, so he does have a Viking lead by 1. But when these battlecruisers get out, things are going to change. It's going to change the pathing of this game. Just trying to keep up with the players as they constantly juggle around both sides of the map. Liberator over here trying to prevent SCVs from mining. Meanwhile, it looks like Dolan's probably going to set up here on this high ground. Vindicta is trying to lay waste to this expansion over here on the right side. It looks like it's going to go down. Is it going to be canceled? No, not even a cancel. Here we go. Dolan is going to siege up here with all these swords and Vikings. Tons of splash damage going down. And I think Vindicta's got this. The Vikings are going down a lot faster for Vindicta, so Dolan there actually does edge a little bit farther ahead because he had a higher Viking count. But now Vindicta's, he's kind of stuck here with his army. He can't really get out. Where are those battlecruisers? There they are. They take out this base over on the left side while simultaneously laying attack down here to this bottom expansion. No repair though. Repair it, Dolan. Dolan lands all of his Vikings and takes out these siege tanks. So pretty much everything from Vindicta going down there, except for these 2 battlecruisers. Nice teleport there from Vindicta. He gets out of dodge. Doesn't have to worry about losing too many battlecruisers there. More Thors on the way for Dolan. 3 at a time. Dolan thinking he may have the answer here to this battlecruiser marine bio tank composition from Vindicta. Just build a bunch of Thors. That seems to be what he's doing. He's got 6 Thors right now, so heavily anti-air army here out of Dolan. While he's sending these Hellions across over here to kill these SCVs. Blue Flame Hellions take out SCVs pretty quick. Meanwhile, these Thors are going to lay waste to this expansion. Battlecruisers against Vikings over here on the top left. There is just battles going around everywhere. Battlecruisers are going to try to get on top of Dolan's army here, but they are destroyed. Viking and Thor doing great right now against this composition from Vindicta. And is this going to be an upset? Is Dolan going to take this game? $41 SCVs to 67 SCVs. Vindicta does still have his SCV lead. But at the moment, he's sitting at 125 supply. Things are getting kind of nuts, actually, right now. 1 tank over here shooting a refinery. 1 tank over here shooting command center. Liberator's got to take out a couple SCVs down here at Dolan's base, but I just don't think it's enough at this point. I think maybe the damage has already been done. If this command center falls over here on the top left, Vindicta may have no choice but to GG here. It may be checkmate here for Vindicta in game number 3. And here comes Dolan with this very large Thor Viking tank army. Nothing really here to take care of this. And I think this may be checkmate. This may be GG, folks. What an absolutely crazy series out of both Dolan and Vindicta. If you were just tuning in, the last game was actually double proxy Barretts. Both of them proxied each other and went proxy Reaper. And now we're seeing a Thor Viking versus a battlecruiser tank bio army. And Dolan's making it look easy. This whole game he's had the Viking lead and he's never let that drop. Maybe just one battle that he took went the wrong way, but he bounced back. He is about to take this game. tech going down here from Vindicta. Meanwhile, Vindicta does got one battlecruiser over here on the right side. A lot of SCVs going down for Vindicta. 33 SCVs go down, so now he's only sitting at 25 SCVs. And Dolan's going for the throat. He's coming in here to the natural. Vindicta's not going to have any choice but to GG here in a moment. I just don't think this Air Force out of Vindicta is going to be able to take on this many Thors. I mean, he's going to have a hard time getting up that ramp. But I really see that's the only difficulty Dolan's going to be having in this game, is just getting up that ramp. Dolan does have a burning command center over here. Hopefully he decides to repair it. And these are the final throws of this game. 15 Vikings to 23. So Vindicta somehow is edged ahead here with the Vikings by sort of turtling in his main base and pretty much only building Vikings and Liberators. Forces Dolan to back off. Dolan is going to lose his command center, though. It's burning down. Will he repair it? Will he repair it? It looks like it's going to go down. Meanwhile, tanks are over here on the top left, still doing damage. And at this point, what has Vindicta got left besides just his Vikings and his Liberators? I don't even think he has that many SCVs left. Dolan does have only 17 SCVs, so... Meanwhile, Dolan has been either throwing his SCVs away, or he has lost a ton of them. Liberators going up against Vikings directly in the middle here. Thors are going to come and back them up. Yeah, I'm not sure how Dolan didn't win that. I guess he was just wanting to be cautious and not move up the ramp there. If only he knew how far ahead he was when he did that attack. He'd probably be slapping himself in the forehead right now, wondering why he didn't move up that ramp. Because now he's letting Vindicta pull ahead here with the Vikings. He has 24 Vikings. I mean, yeah, it's not going to really do much to the Thors. But he could pretty much dictate the pace of the air versus ground battle if you have an air superiority. He does throw a lot of Vikings away at Thors there. He didn't really need to land them there and attack the Thors. I'm not sure why he did that. He's kind of just using his Vikings as ground army right now. That's all he's got. He spends so much time and money into these Vikings. He has to use them for something. And these Thors are just annihilating them. They're falling like flies. These Vikings are. I think this game's about to be over. Damn, all the Thors do go down. What a crazy game. There's no SCVs there, bro. Nothing there. They've all died. Definitely gonna have to take a look over here as this Bluefin Hellion decides to come in here and attack pretty much one of the last mining bases here for Vindicta that still has mining mineral patches on it. Meanwhile, over here on the left side, a couple Liberators from Vindicta. This is definitely where he's gonna get some juicy hits. Hopefully Dolan pulls his SCVs. GG, Dolan calls it. And somehow, some way, Vindicta claws his way back into that game when he literally only had his main base left. And Dolan was sitting out front with like 10 Thors to literally nothing but Vikings. And Vindicta pulled it back. That was insane. So, game number 3 goes to Vindicta. Pretty interesting one there. Actually, really good series to start out the night. So, game number 2, series number 2 is going to be Riser versus Temeris. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I am Morvox. I do casting for Alpha X. Of course, this isn't an Alpha X broadcast. This is in a Apprentice, Code S, Group B. And it looks like Riser versus Temeris game number 1 is ready. It is on Romanticide. And I don't see a need to go to break here. You guys came to watch StarCraft, and I came here to cast it. So let's do it. Let's jump into game number 1, Riser versus Temeris on Romanticide. Here we go, on Romanticide. Up in the top left, our Red Terran. Currently teamless. He needs your energy. It's Temeris. That's interesting. And in the bottom right, our lone Protoss of tonight's group. Playing for the team, licensed to kill. It's Riser. Here comes the Void Ray printer. Burp, burp. I have to agree. Protosses seem to be really loving their proxy Void Ray shield battery cheese in today's meta. Will we see it today? There is a sneaky probe coming over here, and he is not headed towards the main of Temeris. Something is going to happen here. So let me take a swig of water while we're waiting for this to build up. In comes the probe. I think that's what we're about to see. I think we're about to see something proxied here. Maybe he just went around the long way? That was a really weird pathing for a probe to scout your opponent to go around the long way there. Maybe he changed his mind? It happens. So Riser's just going to take his natural expansion here. Deciding to go 1 gate expand into Cybernetics Core. Meanwhile, Temeris is only going 1 barracks here. He's not taking any of his gases. And oh, he's actually dropping 2 more barracks. So he's going 3 barracks here. Very interesting build here out of Temeris. So he's going to be very aggressive here when it comes to Marines. If Riser doesn't scout this coming, he just may die. I mean, there's nothing really much else to say about it. That many Marines come into your natural expansion and you don't have anything there to defend it. He is getting an Adept, but most likely that Adept will be sent across the map to scout and kill some SCVs. So many barracks. I don't think I've ever seen this many barracks on 1 base before. So many barracks. 4 barracks on 1 base here out of Temeris. Couldn't be more any more all in than this. Riser's going to see it though. Riser's going to come in here to scout. And he's going to see that there's a Marine there guarding. He's not going to be able to get in and see the count on the Marines, but he did see about 4 Marines standing up there. He decides to cancel his Nexus, so good call there by Riser. Down comes a sentry, and I think Riser's got this in the bag. All it takes is 1 sentry, really, to stop this attack. Adept's going to come out here and try to take out the reinforcements. He's going to lose the Adept? Ooh, lose the Adept there for free. And in comes the all-in from Temeris. More Marines continuing to get built and sent across the map. Riser has canceled his natural expansion. Well, will it be enough? He is walling off with pylons. He does have 1 sentry and an Adept here with a shield battery. I think Riser's about to die. Throwing that Adept away definitely hurt him. Why is he pulling his unit so far forward? There goes down the force field. Lets a couple SCVs in. Dark Shrine on the way for Riser. So if he does survive here, he will be able to counterattack with Dark Templars. But will he be able to even get that far? I don't think so. I think this may be it. Dude's got 20 Marines in his base. Probes are going down. There is only 1 command center, so if Riser could stay alive until that Dark Shrine is done, he may be able to warp in a DT here to help. Lots of probes are going down. And the count just continues to rise. Good play here out of Temeris. The Marine count is getting lowered, and I think Riser's going to hold this. Here comes the DT. Will there be a scan? Doesn't look like he has the energy. He definitely could scan. I guess he just doesn't want to fight the DT straight up. It's a massacre. The DT comes out here and pretty much takes out every single Marine. And now Temeris, he's stuck with his hands in his pants. What do you do in this predicament? You just all-in your opponent with pretty much all of your SCVs. Threw away your hand. And now you only have one command center against an opponent who is going DTs. So very, very weird spot for Temeris to be in right now. Riser is going Shadow Stride, so he is going to get DT Blink, which is just going to make things worse here for Temeris. Yeah, he's going to have some Marines to defend, but like I said before, he doesn't have any turrets, and he has one command center to do all of his detection. Eventually, he's going to run out of scans here. Scan does go down. He gets one DT, so good play there from Temeris. And it looks like Temeris is just going to save his energy here and not use any mules. So a smart play there out of Temeris, knowing that really that's the only thing keeping him in the game right now. Thanks, Ballard, for rooting for Timmy there in the stream chat. Always like to hear who people are rooting for in each matchup. It's nice to see who the fan favorite is. These guys are both NA heroes. They are the best of the best, cream of the crop on the NA server. That's why they are here in Code S, in Group B. Cheer them on. I'm sure they would always love to get you guys' support. Follow them on Twitter. Follow their social medias. Follow them at tournaments. I also have the NA up and down matches on my Twitch, so if you want to see how they got here, definitely go check that out as well. You ain't getting in here with that DT. However, Shadow Stride is about to finish, and that will change. Meanwhile, Temeris is sending quite a few Marines over here to the bottom right to attack Riser. It's such a weird game now, considering Temeris went all in, went like 4 barracks on one base, sent all of his Marines and SCVs out, lost them all. Riser was able to squeeze out a DT Shrine during that cheese, and now it's putting Temeris in a position where he has to attack again. One base against one base here, 7 minutes in the game. And Riser's doing everything right here. He's going in, he's taking a few swipes, he's getting out with his DT Blink. Riser misses a force field though on the ramp. So the Marines do get in. But I don't think they're going to get much done here. They're all getting sliced down. And that's pretty much it there for Temeris. He is still building 5 Marines at a time. He has 13 on the map, but dude, look at the dude's SCV count. 9 SCVs, 225. So Temeris is in a position now where he's pretty much just going to roll over and die. Completely surrounding his one turret, and Riser's going to decide to take his natural. So Riser's just going to get so far ahead that Temeris is just going to be left in the dust. So if you guys want Temeris to get back into this, you know, I really don't think there's anything you say or do that's going to get him back into this. 3 DTs are going to come in here with Shadow Stride. See that there is no natural there. Riser knows that he's sitting in a good spot now. Not DT Blink, but Stalker Blink actually on the way for Riser. Really not much going on. We're pretty much just waiting for Riser to end this. Temeris just continues to pump out Marines. How many Marines? 24 Marines. I mean, it could get to a point where Temeris literally just gets enough Marines and just A moves across the map with his little scan energy he has. By then, though, Riser's going to be completely set up on a 2-base economy. Four TTs out here just kind of camping. He knows Temeris at one point, he's going to have to come down there and take his natural expansion. Dude just keeps building Marines. I mean, what else can you say? Marine good unit. One base Terran against a 2-base Protoss. 12 SCVs to 35 probes. And it's not looking good for poor Timmy here. In fact, this whole game, Temeris hasn't even put down his gases yet. So, quite an interesting predicament to be in as a Terran player, knowing that you went for a complete all-in, botch it, and then literally just say, okay, I'm just going to keep building Marines. He sends all the Marines down, he scans, but Riser's got Shadow Stride. He's able to easily get out of there. And exactly what I was saying before, Temeris is going to build as many Marines as he can and move across the map. Meanwhile, Riser's going to come in here with these DTs and be able to blink into the main. Or, yep, he's going to blink into the main, immediately take down this turret. There are scans here, but there's literally only one Marine in this base, and there are only 2 in production. So all the SCVs are going to go down. Temeris is in a position now where he may just have to lift up his entire base and hope for the best. Issue is, though, if he lifts that command center up, he ain't going to be able to scan. GG! And Riser takes game number 1 in a very convincing fashion. What a very, very weird game 1. Game 2 will be on Jagannatha. Please let me know in the chat who you're rooting for. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, by the way. So we are getting Game 2 set up. Please feel free to check out my Twitch or my YouTube, or there's even a little tip option down there if you feel like I'm doing a decent job. I am a communicaster. I do not get paid to do this. I'm here casting these games strictly for you guys. Game number 2 is going to be on Jagannatha. I deeply appreciate any follows that you guys can give. Let's get into it. Here he is, the Marine Master himself. The Red Terran, currently teamless. It's Temeris. Down in the bottom left, our only Protoss in today's group. Playing for License to Kill Gaming, it's Riser. So, last game was completely insane. I don't think we're going to see something like that again out of Temeris. Temeris was probably just testing the waters to see if Riser could possibly stop something like that. Riser was completely prepared for it. He canceled the Nexus, put down the force field, and that was pretty much it. It ended the push, allowing Riser to get up his DT Shrine and take game number 1. However, here on Jagannatha in game number 2, we do have the speedy zones in the middle of the map. Could make early pushes very viable here in this PVT. Looks like it's most likely just going to be a 1-gate expand out of Riser. Meanwhile, over here, Temeris is deciding to go for his Reaper. So he will be able to get across the map. Probably is going to come over here and try to be as annoying as possible, try to stop this SCV from dropping his command center. Little dance these workers do, and finally the command center goes down at 150 for Temeris. Meanwhile, Riser's already got his Nexus underway. So, nice little block there from Riser. He's going to be able to get slightly ahead there in the base battle here between this Protoss over here and this Terran. Adepts are coming out for Riser. So he will be able to get across the map with his Adept and see what he can get done. He's going to be looking for, you know, any tech that he can see, anything viable that can give him, you know, what should I do? What tech path should I choose? Meanwhile, Tech Lab here on the barracks getting stemmed, so that alone we're already seeing a massive shift from game number 1. Deciding to go for an early stem, throwing it down 2 extra barracks. Meanwhile, Riser's going Twilight Council, so will we see DTs again? It is a possibility, but seeing that Riser is getting Stalkers right now, would be much more viable to get Blink in this position. Adept does get in here, takes out the SCV building the command center. And he shades out, so nicely played there from Riser. Gets one SCV kill pretty much for free. More Stalkers are coming out here from Riser. And here comes Blink, just like I thought. I thought he would choose Blink because he's continuing to get Stalkers here. But Marauders are on the way for Temeris, so if he could not skip on his Marauder production, and he's about to have Stim, I think he's going to be sitting in a pretty good position here when this attack comes in. Adept's going to try to shade in to try to get some information. Temeris does not pull up the supply depot, so Riser's in the main. He's attacking SCVs. They're being pulled. One SCV does go down. Pretty much just makes Temeris bring his Marauders into the main for a brief moment. While this Adept over here gets taken out by one lone Marine, pretty much on the verge of death. Literally 1 HP. Nice play out of Temeris. Robo on the way for Riser. Will we see a Warp Prism here out of Riser? We may see a 2-base Warp Prism Blink all in here from Riser. Meanwhile, Temeris is checking for the third. He does not see the third. He's going to come over here and see the Stalker count. Now at this point, he pretty much should be screaming to him, Temeris, that Blink Stalkers are on the way here for Riser. And I think he's going to be ready. I don't think there's going to be any issues here with Temeris' defense. He's not just going to build Marines. He's going to build Marauders too. Riser is getting Immortals, and he is throwing more Gateways down. So this is going to be a very strong attack here out of Riser. Takes out the Reaper. So no more map control or map presence there on the map for Temeris. Two base to two base. Neither player deciding to take a third yet. And it looks like Riser is moving out with his Stalkers. And it looks like they're going to meet in the middle. And we all know who wins this fight. Temeris definitely has a much larger force here than Riser. But they kind of dance past each other. Almost in base trade type fashion. Almost like, yeah, you could go kill my base and I'll kill yours. So, Riser's going to come up here into the natural expansion with his Blink Stalkers, while simultaneously Temeris is going to come down here with his Bioforce. He's going to stem in here and start taking out... He's not going to take out the shield batteries. He's immediately going to jump on top of these Immortals. Meanwhile, over here, Blink Stalkers are taking out the Marauders. And one turret does get shot down. So a base race here in game number 2. SCVs are going to try to get on top of these Stalkers. Temeris is going to bring his Bio and try to focus down all these Adepts. But Temeris is losing all of his Bioforce. He's getting surrounded by probes. Yeah, Riser's throwing away a lot of probes, but at the moment, in a base race, the probe count is not going to matter too much, considering you've got Blink Stalkers in your natural expansion. And it looks like both players actually hold their respective attacks. 31 SCVs to 32 probes, 16 army supply to 15 in Riser's favor. And Riser's sending more Blink Stalkers across the map, so this push is not over. Temeris desperately needs medevacs. All of his army, or at least most of it, is severely wounded. 7 Blink Stalkers now on the field for Riser. He is deciding to go Templar, so whether he gets Storm or just decides to go Archons is yet to be seen. He's going to bring these Blink Stalkers in and focus down a Marine. Good kiting there from Riser. Doesn't lose a Stalker. Blinks back the hurt Stalkers. Loses one. So, nice catch there from Temeris. Neither player going for a third base right now. Both on 2 bases. Riser getting Storm. And Temeris is going for Mines. So, we're going to see a nice dance between the Mines and the Storms here. It's all going to be about the micro. Stalkers coming in here, try to get something else, but quite a few of them actually go down. Only 2 Stalkers remaining now on the map for Riser. And the 3rd command center here from Temeris is going to be floating down there in a moment. It looks like there was some issues there. Accidentally clicked on the mini-map to blink. Oopsie. So, loses a bunch of his stalkers there to a micro mistake. He's not out of the game yet. Still sitting in a pretty good spot. He's going to need to eventually take his third base here. Eventually, Temeris is going to float this command center down. And the mules are going to drop. In fact, he's running out of minerals in his main base. He's going to have to do something soon. One Marine does go down here, probably checking for the timing on the third expansion from Riser. And it looks like Liberators here are on the way for Temeris. So Riser's deciding to go with a charge lot, Storm with Immortal, with just a couple Stalkers sprinkled in. He is throwing down his third. And over here, Temeris is deciding to go with a Biomine Liberator. Riser is going to get in here and see this with the Observer, but it quickly gets taken out. So nice play there from Temeris. In fact, Riser was probably thinking about moving out there for a second. As soon as the Observer gets sniped, he backs up, deciding to instead be more cautious, considering that there are Liberators and Mines now on the field. Ghosts on the way for Temeris. And Robo Bay for Riser. So we may see some Disruptors here. I have seen a lot of Protoss switching back to Colossus in PvT. Didn't seem to work out too well. So we're going to see here what Riser's choice is, whether it be Disruptors or Colossus. EMP, though, on the way for Temeris. So I definitely like the way this is going here for Temeris. Take a look here at the upgrades. We're sitting at 1-1 for the Terran and only 1 armor for the Protoss. So Temeris also having a lead in the upgrade department as well. Temeris currently sitting at 63 SCVs to 52 probes. 84 army supply to 56. So in almost every shape and way and form of this game, Temeris is ahead. And here comes the Colossus. Riser is deciding to go Colossus in this match, which is very surprising. Disruptors seem to be more common nowadays in the meta, but frequently I see Protoss switch back to Colossus because I feel like they're kind of expecting the Terrans at this point to think you're going Disruptors. Because, you know, Temeris has got the Ghosts on the way. They help a lot in Disruptors. So, not going to be too helpful against Colossus, considering he's getting extended thermal lance. Liberators will help him, though, in the range department. Looks like Riser's thinking about taking a 4th base here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, this is Group B. This is our second match of the night. First match was a little nuts, so definitely go back and check out that VOD. Zealot does come up here, take out 1 Marine, and dips out. He is going to finally get taken out here from these Marines and Marauder. 108 army supply to 72. Temeris is heavily favored in the army department. Upgrades are now even between both players, so if there is a fight here, it's really going to come down to who has better micro and who has the better composition. I do like that Temeris has Ghost, so that's going to really help him a lot here in this attack. Liberators do put the siege down, preventing Riser from jumping on top of this army with his Blink Stalkers. Nice EMPs there. Quite a bit of Stalkers go down. And the 4th is canceled by Temeris, so great play out of Temeris here, coming in and capitalizing on his already humongous lead. But it looks like Riser may be actually getting ready to counterattack here. Disruptors are on the way, so he's deciding to go both Colossus and Disruptor. Heavily micro-intensive play here out of Riser. But will it be too late now? Temeris is putting a lot of pressure down on this natural expansion. And the mines are sitting in good spots. If Riser decides to engage here into these Liberators, he's going to take a hefty mine hit. Ooh, nice hit there with the Disruptor there on the mines by Riser. So great play out of Riser. Does not get the last mine. He's got to be careful, though, of those Liberators. Meanwhile, it's all quiet on the other side of the map. It looks like Temeris is finally going to take his 4th base. Another dance between these two over in front of Riser's natural expansion. And the more and more Disruptors Riser gets out, the more of a better position he's going to be in. Gets a Marauder there. But here comes the red coming across the map. Temeris is deciding to reinforce. Temeris is about to be maxed out here, so a 200 supply Terran here against a 160 supply Protoss. Does engage there for a second, but loses all the Zealots pretty much there for pretty much nothing. He needs to be careful, though, of those Disruptor shots. Nice EMPs pretty much blanket everything from the Protoss, allowing Temeris to get here into the natural expansion. Down goes the Robo. We're just seeing really great play here out of Temeris. Temeris is currently sitting at 98 army supply to 56. So, ooh, nice hit there from Riser. Is going to bring it down a little bit. But he's still heavily in the lead here as far as army supply. He's going to pick up and get out of there, but I'm pretty sure the damage has already been done. Temeris is already sitting on 4 bases against a 3-base Protoss. Well, technically, barely 2-base economy right near out of Riser. Considering his base is pretty much dried up at this point, and his natural only got 4 patches left. So things are looking pretty dire here for Riser. He's going to need to hold this expansion and try not to die in this next wave of attack here from Temeris. Temeris still up 30 army supply in this best of 3. And it's pretty much just going to be Temeris' game to lose at this point. Riser has not seen the 4th expansion for Temeris on the other side of the map. So he may think he's in a better spot than he actually is. DTs are on the way for Riser. Meanwhile, Temeris, he does know about this expansion over here on the bottom right. So he could lay waste to that as soon as he wants with just a couple Liberators. It'd be really cool if we could see nukes in this game. 5th base coming down here for Temeris. Meanwhile, Riser struggles to just get a 3-base economy, considering his main and his natural are pretty much mined out at this point. More Ghosts on the way. 3-3 upgrades on the way for Terran. And we're looking at 2-2 versus 2-2, so still even in the upgrade department for both players. Composition heavily favoring Temeris here. I feel like with these Ghosts, he should be able to take this out with ease. Archons pretty much are pop like balloons at this point. And Riser is coming around the back here. Liberator siege up directly on the army of Riser. And Riser runs away like a sick puppy with a tail between his legs. There's nothing really he could do to engage this. The Liberators are just too many of them. So many Marauders. Only thing Temeris really needs to worry about is just not taking too much damage here from these Disruptors. Not engaging too heavily into the Colossus. He needs to get attack smart. He needs to put his mines in the right spots. Ooh. This is just not looking good for Riser at this point. Because once again, one of Riser's bases is under contention here. Meanwhile, Temeris is sitting very pretty on all of his bases, mules and everything. And here comes the confrontation here. Disruptors do shoot their balls off, but they don't hit anything. Disruptors go down. Marauders do take out a couple Stalkers. And Riser's bleeding out here. He's sitting at a 129 supply to 190. 114 army supply to 66. It's not looking good for our Protoss friend, guys. He needs your energy. He needs your guys' support. Because he is not going to win this game, not at this point. He is building a War Prism. Maybe he can get something done on the opposite side of the map, but Temeris is ready for this. He's got army everywhere. He's got a little bit of ragtag force almost everywhere on the map. He's got Liberator set up to take out Zealot run-bys. He's just got it all. He's got the towers up to see any type of attack incoming. So nothing is really going to hurt Temeris at this point. Temeris is going to come back down here to the bottom right and siege up with his Liberators. Stalkers felt like we're going to blink in there for a moment, but not a very wise decision out of Riser. He decides to do it anyway, and he gets smacked in the face with an EMP. These Archons drop like nobody's business. Cannon goes down. And it looks like this fourth base of Riser is about to drop, and with it, his hopes for this game. Recall some of the probes. Almost all of them, actually. And one does get left behind, poor probe. And this is all Riser's got. He has to make something happen here. 70 army display to 122. He's on his deathbed now. He's going to try to make something happen here. But pretty much loses almost all of his Stalkers. Nice engagement, though, out of Riser, though. Getting underneath those Liberators and taking them out fairly easy. So, pretty decent engagement there out of Riser. Doesn't lose too much. But he lost his fourth base now. And he's forced to tap out. GG. Temeris wins it and actually ties the score 1-1. So, one apiece now for both Riser and Temeris. Game number 3 is going to be on 2,000 atmospheres. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I am Morvox. I am casting today's NA Apprentice, Code S, Group B. Group A is up on my YouTube page. It is also up on my Twitch page. If you guys want to check that out. There's also a link to my Twitter. Please go and follow so that you guys can keep up with tournaments and other news regarding these tournaments. Game number 3 is loading up, so let's go ahead and get into it in today's NA Apprentice Code S. Up here in the top right, currently teamless, the Red Terran is Temeris. And down here in the bottom left, the only Protoss in this group playing for a license to kill, it's Riser. So while we're waiting for both these players to decide what they're going to do here as far as tech paths, why don't you guys show me some life in the stream chat? Let me know who you're rooting for. You guys want Riser to take this? You guys want Temeris? Are you a Protoss fan? Are you a Terran fan? Let me know. Because at the moment, we're pretty much just waiting for both players to decide what they want to do here. It doesn't look like anything aggressive or anything cheesy. Today is not a good day to be a Zerg fan, considering there is not a Zerg in the group. Pretty bummer, if you ask me. Great day to be a Terran fan, though, considering there's only one Protoss to bully up on. Annoying Probe is going to get in here and try to take down that SCV building, that barracks, but it's not going to happen. Temeris would pull his SCV if he needed to. He didn't need to. Meanwhile, on the other side, it looks like we're going to go for a Gateway Cybercore into second base out of Riser. So nothing too crazy out of either player. No one's playing overly aggressive or overly greedy at the moment. Reaper on the way for Temeris. So he will be able to get across the map. In fact, that's where he's rallied to. He's going to take a look at Riser's base and just verify, you know, you're not going for like a quick 3-gate or 4-gate all in. Adept on the way here for Riser. Not much really going on right now. Not really much to talk about just yet. Stargate does get dropped here for Riser, so we're going to see an Oracle. I'm like 99% sure we're going to see an Oracle here. is in the meta to go Oracle first. I have seen Protosses go Void Ray first. Doesn't mean it's not something that can be done. It's just usually in the meta to get that Oracle first and then go for the Void Ray. If you are going for Void Rays, it seems like Void Rays are more proxied nowadays instead of built in the main base. Factory is complete here for Temeris. So we're going to see what Temeris is going to decide to do. He is getting a tech lab there. So there's a good chance we're going to see tanks on the way here for Temeris, or we may see a Cyclone. Cyclone would be a great choice, actually, considering Riser is going for an Oracle. Reaper does come in and sees. I'm pretty sure he saw all of that. Yeah, he knows the Oracle's coming. He's aware of it. Adept is going to try to shade in here, but Temeris is on top of it. He pulls his supply depots up. Adept does not get into the main base. Denies the scouting. And if he doesn't cancel that shade, he may actually get taken out by that bunker and those Marines. Yep, he cancels it. So good play there from Riser. And this is really going to determine where Riser sits in this best of 3. If he could get in here and do quite a bit of damage with this Oracle, it could put him in a great spot. Cyclone does come out for Temeris, so great choice from Temeris on the Cyclone. It's going to shoo away this Oracle, and Riser gets absolutely nothing done with this Oracle. Meanwhile, on the other side, Reaper is still trying to scope out what Riser's up to, which is really not much. Adept and a Void Ray on the way here from Riser. And Riser's not going to give up. He's going to keep trying. He's going to try to sneak this Oracle into the natural expansion of Temeris. When SCV does go down, one building supply depot goes down. Viking does come in, shoots at the Oracle, and he makes him run away. Isn't that how this game works? I'm pretty sure that's how this game works. Oracle only has a couple kills on it. 2 kills, not really worth it. Is heavily damaged at this point. A little bit of a dance here between the Reaper and the Adept over at the third base of Riser. Reaper goes down. Oracle sees this move out of this Marine and this tank and Viking here. No shield battery at the front for Riser. He is going to decide to build it over here at his third, which may be a smart decision considering Temeris is literally headed in that direction. Small little force here, 1 tank, 1 Cyclone, and some SCVs, 2 Vikings to take out these Void Rays. And I think Riser's in a tough spot right now. I don't think he has what he needs to take this on at this moment. Shield battery gets canceled. Really cool effect there when it exploded, actually. Pylon goes down. And at the moment, Riser is not able to take his third base. Robotics support bay on the way for Riser, so most likely we're going to see Colossus again. Seems to be Riser's tech of choice here when it comes to his Robo. It's also a really good choice against the composition here that Temeris is using, considering he's just going Marine tank with 1 Cyclone and only 2 Vikings. Viking count is both 3 Vikings now. It's still pretty low. Fleet Beacon on the way for Riser. Will we see Sky Toss in this game? Riser is going to come out here and try to retake his third base. Temeris has pulled off the gas when it comes to his aggression here. He has pulled back, and he is now sitting in his natural expansion with his Marine and tank force. And an Oracle's going to try to fly back in here to the main and get something done, but there is quite a few Vikings sitting there along with a Cyclone, and down goes the Oracle. So good play there out of Temeris, taking down that Oracle. It never really did much this game, so great defense also out of Temeris this whole game as far as that Oracle is concerned. And right now the upgrades are, there's no upgrades on the board yet, but the Terran does have them on the way. He has his stim pack on the way and his combat shields, and his +1 is about halfway done. No upgrades in sight for Riser. He is getting his extended thermal lance and flux veins, and he decides to start up his +1 air weapon. So yes, we are going to see a little bit more Sky Toss in this. I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a Carrier or a Tempest. On the other side of the map, we are pretty much just seeing Marine Marauder. I mean, classic build here out of Temeris. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Please, if you haven't already, please give me a follow. I greatly appreciate it. Over here on the other side, it's Riser. You know, he needs to get something done here, considering it just this whole game has not been going in his way. He is getting one Tempest out. And he does have quite a few Void Rays. 5 Void Rays on the map now. But I feel like it's almost a repeat of the last game where Riser kind of just floundered and lost most of his army in the middle of the map. So he's going to have to be very careful here with this Sky Toss army that he's building if he wants to win this game. Looks like he's interested in taking a 4th at this point. More Tempest here on the way for Riser. Zealot takes out a Marine over here for the Watchtower. So Riser does get some map vision back. He's able to see at least the right side of the map. No one currently has the Watchtower over on the left side yet. And Temeris is just satisfied with sitting over here at his 3rd base and muling up. I think he feels like he's in the lead right now. But to be honest, this game is very even. 138 supply to 141, 64 workers to 60 in favor of Riser. 74 army supply to 79 in favor of Temeris, but only by a slight amount. Only about 5 army supply. So Riser's going to have a pretty strong army here. Mixed here with Colossus, Tempest, Disruptors are on the way, and Adepts. Temeris is moving out on the map though. He's got some Ghosts. So once again, we're going to see the Dance of Micro here as Temeris tries to land these EMPs. Takes a couple shots there from the Tempest and decides to back off. "91 army supply to 88. Temeris is now pulled ahead slightly in the army supply. Riser, though, is about to have his 4th base complete, whereas Temeris is still sitting on 3 bases. Charge here on the way for Riser. How many Adepts are we looking at? 11 Adepts are moving over here along the right side. They're probably going to try to jump into this 3rd base, but there is a full supply depot wall there. So very nice out of Temeris to make sure he doesn't accidentally get shaded on and lose a bunch of SCVs. Oh, but there is a tiny opening there, so he does get in there still. Decides to cancel the shades. Loses quite a bit of Adepts to that mine and to... Oh my goodness. He lost so many Adepts there. 11 Adepts now to just 5. So throwing away quite a bit of Adepts in that engagement. And more units are getting bled out here from Riser. Meanwhile, EMP is about to finish. The only thing good I could say here about Riser's position in this game is that he currently has his 4th base up. They are both still sitting on 1-1 upgrades, so neither one of them has been pulled ahead in that regard. And I agree, Temeris is going to need to do something. He's going to need to turtle up if he wants to win this next fight. Because this is getting out of hand. You let the Protoss build too much, and he's just going to roll you. I mean, at this point, he's got so much Air Toss and Colossus. He's even got Immortals sprinkled in there with Disruptors. I mean, you can't get any more deadly with a Protoss composition than that. That's almost every good Protoss unit put together. Whereas on the other side, we're mostly just seeing a bio-tank force here out of Temeris. A couple Vikings are sprinkled in, but I don't know if that's enough Vikings to deal with that many Colossus. I mean, how many Tempests does he have total? 4 Tempests, so 4 Tempest to... How many Vikings? 9 Vikings. And with 6 more on the way, Temeris is doing what he needs to do to counter this. He needs to not skimp on the air. If he loses this air battle, he loses this game. Because then these Colossus have free reign, Disruptors could drop the balls all over your face, and nobody has a good day when someone drops balls all over your face. Looks like we've got both Shadow Stride and Blink for Stalkers on the way. So soon we're probably going to see a lot of aggression here out of Riser. There really isn't much for him to attack. Temeris is still kind of turtled up a little bit in 3 bases. He is deciding to move his 4th command center out right now. As he moves out, Temeris is moving down here on the left side. He's going to hit the third base of Riser, but Riser's ready. He's already got his army in position. Blink is not done. Both Shadow Stride and for Stalkers is not complete yet. Very, very ballsy base over here on the left side here out of Riser. And I don't think Temeris is going to be able to move in here just yet. He may be able to come in here and pick off a Tempest or two. That's so much splash damage out of the Protoss. Maybe if he could just do that and back up and allow his fourth base to start mining, that may be what he's trying to get done here. Loses all of his mines to Disruptor shots, so nice play there out of Riser. And Temeris needs to start putting more SCVs on this base over here. Here comes the confrontation here between the Protoss and the Terran. Nice EMPs blanket the Protoss. Ghosts go down. Disruptors come down and splatter their balls all over the Terran's face. He actually loses the Disruptors. The Terran focuses them down. So nice play out of Temeris. And the Protoss is moving out. He smells blood. He's going to hit this fourth base up here. There is a planetary. Nothing else really here. Temeris is moving some of his bio back, but this is a very large Protoss force coming up here. And things are looking very dicey for our Terran player. He's forced to cancel his command center. Meanwhile, Riser is literally expanding like a madman. He has 2 extra bases now that he is mining from. Nothing over here yet, though. Vikings are coming in. Takes down 2 Colossus. So nicely done there by Temeris. It's the Disruptors that I'm really worried about right now. Most of the air toss seems to have been taken out too. So very well done there for Temeris to have the air advantage and be able to take advantage of that and take out most of the Tempest army. I don't think he even has any Tempest left. No, all the Tempests actually go down and the Void Rays. So Riser's going to come along here to the right side. There is one mine there. Sneaks past it. And Temeris is going to need to get in position here to defend this. Ooh, Disruptors get a very nice hit. Takes out a Ghost and a couple Marines and a Marauder. So nice hit there from Riser. EMPs do blanket this Immortal on these Disruptors, but there's just not enough there to chase it down. I mean, Riser could easily just turn around and fight this. He's got a lot of DTs as well. Let's take a look at what the energy looks like on these command centers. This command center is really low. This command center is really low. And I believe this command center has a scan. So yeah, he has 1 scan available. Disruptor, DT, Stalker, Archon with 1 Immortal here for Riser. Meanwhile, Temeris going with what's good here. Ghost, Marine, Tank, Marauder with just a couple Vikings. And yeah, Temeris, like you said, he's still sitting on 1-1. He's actually let Riser pull quite far ahead in this game when, at a point, Temeris could have taken this game easily. GG. Riser takes game number 3 and takes the series in a game that I thought for sure Temeris had it in the bag. Letting Riser take his place in this series. Very interesting game number 3. So next match is going to be Alpha X Vindicta against License to Kill Riser. But before we do that, I need more water. As you can see, it is completely empty. So I'm going to take a break. It'll be very quick, maybe about 2 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
My child, and embrace the glory that is your birthright. Know that I am the Overmind, the eternal will of the Swarm, and that you have been created to serve me. Serve the Hive. I control the groove. Serve the Hive. I control the groove. skills. Serve the hive. Feel the groove. I control the way you move. Skills.
So, like I said, very fast break here. Definitely want to jump into the next game. And I want to say thank you to JLTT12345678 for the follow. So, Vindicta versus Riser. First game is going to actually be on Beckett. So, that's quite interesting. Most people veto Beckett. And thank you to Omega1139 for the follow. It is deeply appreciated. I just want you guys to follow so that you guys can be aware when I go live with these tournaments. There's more to come. Let's go ahead and jump into Vindicta versus Riser, game number 1 on Beckett. Loading up now. Let's get into it, guys. Down here in the bottom left, our blue Terran playing for Alpha X. It's Vindicta. And up here in the top right, our purple Protoss playing for License to Kill. It's Riser. So we got Riser once again in this next match. We will see if he decides to go the same route he did in the last PVT, deciding to go for a Sky Toss Colossus-based composition. And it looks like Vindicta's just going to go 1 barracks, gas, and then expansion. Where Riser is deciding to take 1 gas and go... So far, he's just only got 1 gateway on the way. And I think Vindicta also has this series. I'm just going to call you RJ. RJ Skater. Is that how you say it? But I do think Vindicta here is going to take this, considering, personally, I am on Alpha X. I cast for Alpha X. So, of course, I'm going to root for my homie here. But I want to be fair. Riser is a very good Protoss. And he deserves everyone's respect here, considering he has made it here into the Codex group stage. He is the only Protoss. And we're going to see here shortly what each player decides to do. Riser is not going to be able to be too annoying here with the probe to stop the command center from going down here from Vindicta. So Vindicta easily getting his command center down there. So it's ARJ Skater. Cool. Adept here on the way for Riser. Riser will be able to get that Adept across the map. See what Vindicta's up to. Vindicta is really good about raising his supply depots, so I don't think he's going to lose too many SCVs here. One interesting thing, though, is instead of going a second Adept, Riser is choosing to go for a Stalker. So he may just decide to keep the Stalker at home as a defense and decide to send his Adept out to do the offense and also get scouting done. There is a SCV in here. He's going to see the Twilight, actually. So very nice play there from Vindicta to be able to see that Twilight. Adept's going to come in here and take out this SCV building, this command center. Green Marine should be able to shoo this Adept away. And he did see that Twilight Council, so Vindicta is aware that the Twilight is on the way. What is Riser going to do? Is he going to go DTs? No, he's going to go Blink. These Marines catching this Adept out here, and they're going to kill it before the shade completes. Really well done there by Vindicta, taking that Adept out pretty much with ease. Over in the top right, Blink is being chrono boosted. And a Robo goes down. So we're most likely to see a Blink aggression here out of Riser. 9 Marines on the field currently for Vindicta. And he's going double Tech Lab. He's got Stim and Combat Shields on the way. Neither player choosing to go for any type of physical upgrades yet. Riser going for Tech. And Vindicta going for his Research. Down goes an Engineering Bay for Vindicta, so he will start his upgrades here shortly. Observer's going to be the choice here for Riser to come out first on his Robo instead of an Immortal. He doesn't smell any type of aggression coming out, so it's a very good choice to go for the map vision instead of getting that first Immortal. There is only one Marauder, sorry, 2 Marauders now on the field for Vindicta. Vindicta is moving out. And it looks, Riser feels, I feel like he's searching for something. He wants to know where this aggression is going to be coming from. He's sending Stalkers pretty much everywhere. And he's going to run right into this Bioforce. Will he lose these 2 Stalkers? He blinks out, saves 1, but is heavily injured. And here comes the Immortal from Riser. Vindicta does back up and decides to stay at his natural expansion. Charge is on the way for Riser. And +1 is started for Vindicta. So Vindicta's going to get an upgrade lead here, which could snowball if he's able to get +1 and +2 done before Riser starts his upgrades. Riser's going to come out here and take a 3rd, which is actually quite smart considering he's building this on the back of having a Templar Shrine. Storm is really good against Terran. We all know that. We all know the story of what Storm does to bio units, considering Vindicta doesn't even have a single medevac on the map yet, which should be changing here shortly. This starport is finishing up. Riser does get in here with the Hallucinated Phoenix, and he sees that the starport and the factory were changing. And we're kind of at a lull in this game right now. Neither player has decided to be overly aggressive. Both of them are just kind of expanding and defending. Not wanting to really attack either one. But as soon as Riser here gets his Storm, and he is also getting a War Prism, so we may actually see that aggression change here very shortly here for Riser. And Vindicta is moving out. He's actually coming out here to the 3rd base. And Storm is not done. So he is hitting a very sharp timing here. Only 2 medevacs, though, here for this very large force of bio. Nice force fields, though, from Riser prevent Vindicta from getting on top of that army. And Storm is about complete here. So nice defense there from Riser. Vindicta's going to back up. Double dropships on the way here for Vindicta. And he's also bringing back his main army. So he's going to bring his main army back. And he's going to move these 2 dropships out. He's most likely going to hit the main. What does Riser have as far as defense in the main? Nothing really much here. Not even a cannon. 1 cannon actually does finish up here. But it's in the mineral line. It's not going to prevent a drop. These 2 drops are going to come in here. He's going to take out this pylon. He's got a tank in there. And he's also going to hit the 3rd at the same time. He forces a recall to the main and then hits the 3rd. Forcing Riser to split up his army. But was it enough? He may have recalled too much back to his main. And Riser's just losing on every point. He's losing his 3rd. He's losing his main. Pylons are going down. Probes aren't mining. Nicely done there by Vindicta. Riser is desperately trying to get some pylons back up so that he can get his production back up. At the moment, Vindicta's sitting in a very hefty lead. 52 army supply to 24. Heavily in favor of Vindicta here. And Vindicta's going to try to come up here and hit this 3rd again. There are 2 cannons and a couple Zealots and Stalkers there to prevent too much damage from happening. And it looks like Vindicta's just going to kind of recenter himself with all of his army over here and hit again. Vindicta constantly hitting with the aggression here. The ghosts are really good for this fight. They're able to take down the shields from the cannons and most of the army there. Ooh! Very nice mine shot there from Vindicta. And more starting to come across the map here for Vindicta. So he's going to continue to put pressure here. There is a DT shrine coming up behind this for Riser. And yeah, you can have the fanciest Will Prism Micro in the business, but ghosts are going to EMP everything, and then he's just going to A-move you. At this point, Riser is in a very tough spot here. 112 supply to 75. Only a couple Zealots and a Stalker remain. These 2 cannons are going to go down. And this may be GG. Too much damage has been done here. Vindicta's still pushing into the 3rd. GG! Riser calls it. And Vindicta takes game number 1. So there you have it. Vindicta takes game number 1 in pretty convincing fashion. And we all kind of thought that that was going to be the case. And it's up to Riser to pull this back. Game number 2 is going to be on 2,000 atmospheres. And I have it loaded up. So let's go ahead and get into it. So in this best of 3, Vindicta is up 1-0 over Riser. And then down here in the bottom left, our blue Terran. He is favored to win this match and take this series. It is playing for Alpha X. It's Vindicta. And over here in the top right, our purple Protoss. He needs your energy. Put your hands up for the Spirit Bomb. He needs it. He needs to come back in this series. It's Riser. So it looks like we're just going to see a 1-gate expand here out of Riser. While on the other side, it looks like Vindicta's going to just go 1 gas barracks into expansion. Most likely going to see a Reaper here out of the barracks. Vindicta does never really go Marine first. At least against Protoss. Neither player is going to be overly aggressive or overly greedy here in the openings of 2,000 atmospheres. Please let me know who in the chat, who you're rooting for in this game. Riser needs to win 2 games in a row to come back. Will he be able to do it against such a fan favorite? Each player scouts each other. So both of them know that they're being honest and that neither one of them is deciding to go for an overly cheeky build here. Probe is going to prevent the command center from going down here. Only momentarily, though. He loses the probe. You're not supposed to lose that probe. You're supposed to pull that probe back. So, nice play there from Vindicta catching that probe. Already, Vindicta becoming slightly ahead here. Reaper is going to go across the map, and if he can get any kills with this Reaper, it's just going to cement his win here in this series. Riser needs to do something. Even if he does something overly aggressive, he needs to do something to throw Vindicta off his game. He is going to build an Adept here and send that across the map, but just standard here from Riser. Stargate does go down. And a bunker drops down for Vindicta, so Vindicta's just going to play a little bit safe. Even if Riser decides to send an Adept here to try to get some sneaky damage, there will be a bunker there, so... Adept versus Reaper here over on the left side. Riser's got to catch this Reaper, so... Or not. Vindicta actually pulls his Reaper away at the last second, actually survives the Shade. Factory on the way for Vindicta. And we're going to see what Riser's choice here as soon as this Stargate finishes. Most likely going to be an Oracle. Very rarely do you ever go Void Ray first in PvT. Reaper goes down. Not before getting a full scout of the main. You know, it looks like this Oracle's going to get across the map here. Vindicta's building a Cyclone, but I don't think it's going to be ready by the time that Oracle gets there. It may just pop out as the Oracle arrives, so it actually may be clutch here from Vindicta. This may be a really good defense. Starport about to finish here for Vindicta in a Void Ray on the way for Riser, so... Here comes the Oracle. And like I said, that Cyclone is going to finish up just about as it gets there. How much damage is he going to get done? Riser is going to try to send in a few Adepts here to try to focus Vindicta's attention away from the Oracle. Meanwhile, he's going to come around here to the Natural and try to take out as many SCVs as he can. Nice pull from Vindicta. Pulls his SCV mules to the bunker. Only going to lose 2 SCVs there. Cyclone's going to be able to start firing on this Oracle. And really only 3 SCVs going down. I mean, it's pretty decent for Riser. He didn't lose the Oracle. But it looks like he lost an Adept there, so... This Oracle may actually go down here, right here in the center of the map. Goes down. Nice play from Vindicta. Gets the Oracle anyway. Riser hanging around just a little bit too long there at the front with his Oracle. Vindicta comes down the ramp and just takes it out with a Cyclone. Giving Vindicta the option here to move out. Considering there is almost no map vision here for Riser. And Riser's going to try to take a third, but he doesn't know that this is coming. Down goes the probe. And only 3 Adepts in a Void Ray here to defend. 1 Void Ray not being enough to take down 2 Cyclones. And in comes the attack from Vindicta. Is Vindicta just going to steamroll Riser here? He's attacking and all the Adepts go down. And the Void Ray's going down. There is no shield battery here. GG! And Vindicta just completely decimates Riser 2-0. Very, very convincing play out of Vindicta. So our next match is going to be Riser versus Dolan. A Terran versus Protoss. First match is going to be on Beckett. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Give me a follow if you haven't already, so you guys can keep up to date on these games. Follow me on Twitter. I'd appreciate all the support. We are one scene. We all have to support this scene, just like Total Biscuit says. If he has to take his erect penis and bring the scene up by himself, he is going to do it. Well, that is us now. That is up to us to do that for StarCraft 2. It is the only competitive RTS right now. And at least until AoE 4 comes out. Dolan versus Riser, Beckett Industries. Let's get into it. So here we are on Beckett Industries for our fourth match of the night. Up here in the top right, playing for License to Kill. I'm sorry, this is Dolan. My bad, my bad. Dolan is currently teamless. It's our Red Terran, Dolan. And over here in the bottom left, who is currently playing for License to Kill, it's Riser. So please let me know in chat who you're rooting for. Riser or Dolan. Considering he's the only Protoss in the group, I feel like he's definitely making his race shine here. Even though he's been smacked around a little bit. Riser is going to send this early probe scout out, but he's not going to be able to get into the main. Considering Dolan didn't finish the supply depot and left it there so that he could block it. So probe is not going to be able to get in and really get anything done here. Of course, as Riser, you're going to want to get in here and attack as many SCVs and being as annoying as possible. And so far, we got some support for Riser in the chat. Anyone going for our Red Terran up here? Anyone a Dolan fan? Or just a Terran fan in general? Love to hear what you guys have to say in the chat. Nothing too crazy out of either player yet. Factory on the way for Dolan. Which is actually quite early, in my opinion, considering this is already halfway done. We may actually see something like a quick Hellion or maybe a quick mine attack. Meanwhile, there is a bunker on the way for Dolan. He's proxying a bunker over here, but is Riser aware of it? He has not seen it yet. Second command center on the way here for Dolan. And the bunker is complete over here for Dolan as well. So what exactly is he going to get done with this bunker here? He didn't send the Reaper to it. He's just going to send the Reaper into the main. He sees the Adept, goes right into the bunker, and starts firing away at the Nexus. Meanwhile, on the other side, we got a starport on the way for Dolan. Riser at the moment, his Stargate is finishing up here, so most likely we're going to see an Oracle here. Oracle here out of Riser. But just like last game, Dolan is going for a Cyclone, which are really good at taking on Oracles. In fact, if I was Dolan, I personally would have watched Riser's games and seen how he opened against Terran. It seems to be in the meta now to just open up with one Oracle and then maybe then go into a Void Ray. On the other side of the map, we got Adepts fighting a bunker here. There's a shield battery there, so Riser should be able to clean this up. No SCV-2 to repair being sent across the map just yet. Void Ray on the way for Riser, just like I thought. Well, he went one Oracle into one Void Ray. He's still cranking out the Adepts. And Dolan's folding his command center down here, so a little bit later of a second base here out of Dolan. Riser definitely ahead as far as bases go in economy. Oracle is going to finally come across the map. He's going to see what he can get done with it. He isn't aware that Dolan has taken his natural expansion yet, so he's going to fly up in there. There is no turrets. There are a couple of Marines here. No bunker, though. And Dolan's going for Cloak. So, going to see some Banshees here. Tech of choice here out of Dolan. Dolan being very defensive with his Cyclones. Choosing to leave them in the main base just in case an Oracle decides to fly in. Vikings on the way for Dolan, and on the other side we got Void Race here for Riser. And Smoked Salmon, he says Riser is going to take this. He says Riser for the win, so not much hope here for our Terran Hope. Dolan's going to have to figure out what he's going to do here. Last time I remember watching Dolan, he just masked Marines and did an all-in. If you weren't here, check out the VOD. It was a crazy all-in from Dolan. I think it was... Yeah, it was literally match number 1 from this evening. Alpha X Vindicta versus Dolan. Definitely check out that series. Oracle's going to come in here. Immediately gets targeted. Goes down. Riser loses the Oracle without getting a single SCV kill. Pretty sad there for Riser. Robotic Support Bay on the way for Riser. More Void Rays coming out. Vikings also on the way by Dolan. Let's see, how many Vikings are we looking at? 2 Vikings to 2 Void Rays. Not necessarily the greatest there from Dolan. So Dolan's going to move out here and try to put pressure here on the third base of Riser, but at the moment there's nothing there but 1 pylon. And Dolan needs to be very careful. If he sieges up in the wrong place and Riser can jump on top of him with those Void Rays. He's only got 2 Vikings, so it's not necessarily the greatest. I mean, he can use his Cyclones to make the Void Rays go away. He's going to need to get in the right positioning in order to do that. Riser choosing to keep his Observer with his main army here instead of using it to spot Dolan's army movement. Third base does go down here for Riser, and Dolan's just going back. Riser finally gets an Observer over here, so he's going to be able to spot exactly what's going on. He sees the army movement from Dolan. He knows that Dolan is keeping most of his army here in the natural. He's going to go over here and check this third.
Mineral field.
And he doesn't see a command center there, so he's going to bring the Observer back. And just, you know, be a little pervy here watching this army here of Dolan. Got a pervy little Protoss here. Void Rays are going along the left side. There is a Banshee there. He does not get it. The Banshee just squeezes by, just barely. Activates Cloaking Field, and now he's headed towards the natural. There is no cannon here from Riser. So there will be some probes going down here, and there is an Observer here, so Riser may be able to defend, but it's not going to be immediate. How many probes are going to go down here? 1 goes down, 2. Kind of a slow pull there from Riser. 3 probes go down. So nicely done there by Dolan to find a little opening where he could do some damage. He needs to not lose. He needs to not lose it. The Banshee needs to get out of there. And he loses the Banshee. So he gets 4 SCVs for a Banshee. I'm not sure if that's worth it. Maybe just barely. But you usually want to do more damage than what you're looking for. Especially against a 3-base Protoss when you're sitting on a 2-base as a Terran. Dolan is going to fly his command center down here. What are the upgrades currently looking at? No upgrades for either player currently. +1 weapons is on the way for Protoss, along with +1 infantry weapons here for the Terran. And Colossus are coming out here for Riser, along with Templars and Charge. So, very strong army out of Riser here. Void Ray Colossus with Charge Lot and Storm. Very good composition against what Dolan currently has. He's currently going for mostly Marine, Tank, and a couple Vikings. He does have a mine or 2 sprinkled in. He's not going too heavily on mines. But Storm is on the way, and Stim is about to complete for Dolan. 62 workers to 59 in favor of Riser. But Dolan has a very slight army lead. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're just now tuning in, this is match number 4 of Group B for NA Apprentice Code S. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Dolan is going to come up here in the middle between the natural and the 4th expansion. He's going to put some pressure down here onto Riser, but he doesn't get a single 1 HP damage, onto those Colossus, if I could speak. Void Rays are going to try to come down here and get these tanks. Nice Storm. Blankets a lot of that bio. A lot of the bio now sitting in red. And Medevac's pretty much out of energy at this point. 64 workers to 67 in favor of Dolan. Not seeing any mules currently. So as of now, it's looking like Dolan is only just a tad bit ahead when it comes to economy. Riser does have a very good composition here, considering he's going for Colossus, Void Ray, and Storm. Dolan is still not really beefed up his Viking count. He does get one more Viking sent in there, but he really needs to pump it up more than just one at a time, considering there is a Warp Prism coming out and would be nice to be able to shut that down. Fleet Beacon also on the way for Riser. And Riser is moving out. He's wanting to put some pressure down here on Dolan in game number 1. He takes a peek, doesn't see the 4th base, backs up. Sensor Tower is going to see the army movement here. Oop. Sorry about that. Just wanted to see the vision here. There, he does not see just yet the army deciding to poke in there. Take a look at the 4th base. Tower does go up, sees the army moving out. So at the moment, Riser's deciding not to engage here. One upgrade to 1 upgrade as far as weapons go for both players right now. EMP on the way for Dolan. Nice scan there from Dolan. Sees the army positioning there of Riser. Riser is kind of sitting in the middle here with his army, just kind of waiting for a move out, maybe waiting for that 4th to go down. Now we're going to see an attack here from Riser. He's just putting some pressure here on these barracks. Tempest now on the way for Riser with a DT shrine behind it. So very aggressive play here out of Riser. Coming up there, deciding to put pressure down on the barracks, pretty much walking completely across the map. Free, without any type of anything stopping him. Dolan's pretty much been turtled most of this game. One Cyclone in here tries to come in here and take a look at what's going on. I don't think he saw that Tempest. It does get focused down from the Colossus. Scan does go down and does clarify there is a Tempest indeed in this army. And Dolan here, he's got ghosts and he's ready to pounce. Where is he going to attack? Is it going to be the 3rd or the 4th base here, or is he even going to engage here? +1 air weapons on the way for Riser. And Dolan pretty much gets a Void Ray there for free. He's going to move up here into the 4th base to take out these cannons and the shield battery. But Riser's going to pounce right on top of him from the backside. He's coming up behind him with all these Zealots and Void Rays. EMPs go down, but they don't really hit much. 4th does go down, so nicely done there by Dolan. But if he loses everything here, it won't be worth it. Storms go down. Take out quite a bit. But there just isn't enough Vikings here to take out these Colossus. Dolan forces Riser to recall his Colossus. And Riser, he's not sitting in a good spot right now. Now we got a 4-base Terran against barely 3-base Protoss, considering Riser's main is almost mined out at this point. 55 workers to 49. Dolan is definitely in the lead here. Protoss does have better upgrades. He has +2 weapons. But if you can't build anything because you don't have the bases, at that point upgrades aren't really going to matter much. Dolan needs to figure out what he needs to do to finish this game, though. He already did a very good punch to the face of Riser by taking out that 4th base, but now he's going to have to figure out how to follow through. Lots of DTs being warped here from Riser, so it could definitely swing the game back in his favor if these DTs can get in here and do some damage. Shadow Stride is not complete yet, so he won't be able to blink and get out of there. He is just going to send 1 DT to take out that turret building, and then force some of the SCVs to kind of pull. Nice defense there from Dolan. Doesn't really lose anything to those DTs, but that will change as soon as Shadow Stride is complete. Riser will be able to blink in there and do some damage and get out without losing many DTs. Thus is the nature of Shadow Stride. Warp Prism here on the way for Dolan. And he may decide to be aggressive here with this Warp Prism. He may send it to the main, warp in some DTs, and try to take out some of the tech. There's a big engagement here over in the middle. And Riser is chasing down Dolan here with his Archons and Zealots, but Dolan turns around and EMPs most of everything, and things just go down. Ooh, one Colossus pretty much, ooh, and a nice Disruptor hit there too. So Dolan got a really nice hit there on the Colossus, but then Riser turned around and hit him with the Disruptor. So nice hit from both players there. And once again, Dolan is heading to the 4th base, and he wants to take it out. He forces Riser to recall, so in and of itself, it's a good play. Forcing everything up here into this top corner from Riser. Lots of DTs getting on top of these Marines and Marauders. Forcing Dolan to land the Vikings here, but there's just too much here from Dolan. Everything is going down. GG! And Dolan takes game number 1 in what everyone thought was a series favoring Riser. So well played there by Dolan. Nice play there from Dolan. Game number 2 is going to be on Jagannatha. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hi, Pika Pow. Is that how you say it? So, like I said, game number 2 is going to be on Jagannatha. And I got it loaded up, so let's go ahead and go in. Yeah, no worries, man. Up here in the top right, our Red Terran from the United States of America, currently teamless. It's Dolan. And down here in the bottom left, playing for License to Kill, it's Riser. So very interesting night tonight, Group B. Opening up today with a very aggressive cheese out of Dolan, considering he went 4 barracks, 1 base all in. A little bit of banter here from both players. Riser calling Dolan a hoe. Is there something we don't know? This could be an inside joke. But as I was saying, Dolan did open up very aggressive in the first game of the night against Vindicta, with a 4 barracks cheese. So I don't think we're going to see that here in his TVP. But just to say, Dolan is not afraid to use whatever builds he needs to even this up. Currently he's sitting 1-0 over Riser, so he is on game point. So he definitely has more flexibility when it comes to what build he wants to choose. He doesn't necessarily have to play overly safe here. Probe is going to come and try to be as annoying as possible, but these 2 SCVs should be able to take care of it. One Marine does come down, and it's going to put an end to this. Down goes the Probe. SCV going into the natural is going to spot the timing on the Nexus. And so far, nothing too aggressive out of either player. Nothing too greedy out of either player as well. Looks pretty standard to me. Adept coming out here for Riser. He's going to chrono that out, get across the map. He wants to know what is going on. What is Dolan up to? At the moment, Dolan's not really up to much. He's being standard. He's getting his command center. He's going double Reaper. So that alone is a slight difference from the last game. Deciding to be a little bit more aggressive here with Reapers, considering he is doing a reactored Reaper build here. 2 more barracks going down for Dolan. So we may actually see a lot of aggression here out of Dolan in game number 2. Twilight Council does drop for Riser. I'm pretty sure we're just going to see Blink out of that. It could possibly be Glaives. Seeing these 2 Reapers, though, he's instantly going to know something's up. Does shade and get out of there, so nicely done by Riser. 1 Stalker is coming up the map here. And this really is Dolan's game to lose. Considering he's up 1 game. Riser's not going to try to be too aggressive too. And he's going to get Blink. But he isn't pumping out the Stalkers yet. And he doesn't seem to be putting down an explosion of gateways. So this may just be a two base defensive Blink build here out of Riser. 1 Robo does go down. 2 more gateways. So we may actually see a little bit of pressure here from Riser. It doesn't look like to be anything game ending. There are 2 Reapers here on the left side. Kind of just waiting to spot that 3rd base. Stim and combat shields are queued up here for Dolan. So very soon his infantry units will be very beefy. And will have access to great drugs that'll make them shoot and not die. So great on Terran there. To get those upgrades as fast as possible here. Considering there is a Blink attack incoming from Riser. 2 Reapers are going to try to get in here. He actually could have went through that wall if he really wanted to. But he didn't want to lose those Reapers. So playing a little bit cautious, Dolan is. Quite a few Marines here are coming out. How many Marines are we looking at here? 14 Marines on the map here for Dolan. Now it looks like he's going to meet up with these Reapers. Blink is almost done. Warp Prism also about to complete. What is Riser's plan here? Is he just going to elevator into the main? Or is he going to Blink in the main? Or maybe send Zealots into the main and then Blink into the natural? We'll have to see as Riser sends this Warp Prism across the map. Currently in the main, there are no defenses. There's not even a single turret. There's not even any units in the main base of Dolan at the moment. Everything looks like it's currently sitting in the natural, and he's got this small force over here on the right side. So it looks like they're both going to attack each other pretty much at the same time. 2 base Blinkstalker attack coming in here. He's going to focus down the bunker. Nice pullback there on the Stalkers by Riser, while at the same time, Dolan is running in here with all these Marines. So many probes are going down. And 4 Stalkers is not going to be enough to stop this. He's going to have to recall. Dolan forces a recall. So now the push is stopped. Dolan does defend it by causing a recall, but then he's going to lose pretty much everything. 18 probes go down, though. GG. Dolan takes it 2-0 over Riser. So nicely played there by Dolan. That was a very, very quick series. And I don't think anyone was predicting Dolan to take it that fast. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I am Morvox. I am casting Group B today for the NA Apprentice Code S. And it looks like our next match is going to be Vindicta versus Temeris. GG. Well played by Dolan there. Almost like he took a play out of Vindicta's playbook. So game number 1 here is going to be on Lightshade. And I'm not going to take a break. We just want to get right in, right? Right, guys? Who do you guys think is going to take this one? It is a Terran versus Terran. So, I mean, if you said Terran, you wouldn't be wrong. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Game number 1 on Lightshade. Here we are, folks. Match number 5 tonight in Group B. A Terran versus Terran here. And in here in the top left, from the United States of America, and it doesn't look like he's currently on a team yet, it's Temeris. Thank you, everyone, for the follows who decided to click that button. Greatly appreciate every single follow I get. I will personally thank you for following tonight. Also, make sure to follow these players. These players are the best of the best from the NA region. And down here on the bottom right is one of them. Probably one of the top Terrans in NA right now, besides Special. Playing for Alpha X, it's Vindicta. So both players deciding to open double gas here. So we need to see what they got planned for each other here in this match. This is a best of 3, and all these matches tonight are round robin format, so each player will get to play each other throughout the evening. So far we've had Vindicta versus Dolan, we've had Riser versus Temeris, Vindicta versus Riser, Riser versus Dolan, and now we're on Vindicta versus Temeris. So after this we got one more match of the evening. It's going to be Dolan versus Temeris. So if you guys are a fan of Vindicta, I'd love to hear you guys in the chat rooting for him. If you're a fan of Temeris, I want to hear about it. Both of these players are going factory right now. Pretty much the same build out of each player. So it's really going to come down to who engages who first, who loses those first SCVs, who gets a full scout. We're going to have to wait and see. Right now, we're pretty much just waiting for both players to decide what they want to do here in this game. And it looks like Reapers for both players are coming out. The only deviation being a quicker Hellion at a Temeris. Expansion does go down for Temeris, so a little bit faster of expansion here out of Temeris than Vindicta. Vindicta follows behind only a couple seconds later with his expansion. So it seems like Temeris is just slightly ahead when it comes to the build that they are both choosing to do at this moment. Only by a couple seconds. But in StarCraft, that can mean everything. Right now, Temeris has got 2 Reapers and a Hellion sitting here in the natural. More Hellions are on the way. More Reapers are on the way for both players. And I like how Vindicta is actually going across the map here searching for any proxies. He actually came down here, checked down here, he went all down here, and then he came back up here to check for more proxies. He didn't find anything, so good on him for having great map presence there with that SCV. Temeris is yet to move out with an SCV since the beginning of the game. So Temeris a little bit in the dark here as far as when build Vindicta is deciding to follow up with. Both are going Cyclone. So pretty much a complete mirror match right now between Temeris and Vindicta. Vindicta definitely favored in this match, considering Vindicta is a fan favorite. Thank you everybody for tuning in, all 11 of you. Please give me a follow if you haven't. Please follow these players on their Twitter pages. Please support these players. These guys are our NA heroes. I will keep saying that because they are the best of the best, because they are here in Code S. And it's all going to come down to the engagement here between Temeris and Vindicta. Neither player is deciding to be too aggressive. They're both deciding to be quite defensive here. Raven on the way for Temeris. So a very faster Raven here for Temeris. What is Vindicta going to do here? What is the tank count currently sitting out? No tanks for either player. So they're both pretty much building tanks at the same pace. And both of them are only on one factory. So literally the same build from both players. Not much to really talk about yet. Both players are being very defensive right now. Kind of turtling up a little bit. Temeris is deciding to be a little bit more active on the map now with his Reapers and Hellions. And Vindicta is also moving across the map, though he has one less Reaper than Temeris. Little engagement over here on the right side. Will Temeris lose one Reaper, though? He does get out of there, but he is meeting up with this large force over here on the left side. So Vindicta's not going to be able to get in there again. Neither player deciding to get upgrades yet, so they're both completely even on upgrades, which is 0 upgrades at this moment. 2 tanks to 2 tanks. Vindicta's a Raven just a tad bit later than Temeris is. Other than that, there really is no other deviation here in this game. No third base going down for either player yet. Vindicta deciding to leave his little army tucked in over here. Try to spot for a third base. Maybe catch a small army moving out. Maybe reinforcements or something. But at the moment, Temeris' army is starting to get quite big here. He does have an army lead advantage here, 41 to 34. So slightly bigger army here out of Temeris. That would be nuts if Temeris actually takes a game off Vindicta here. Vindicta is heavily favored in this match. But I always like to root for the underdog here. I kind of hope Temeris at least takes a couple games here off Vindicta. And Vindicta is setting up for what looks like an attack here momentarily. He's moving all of his tanks over here. He's going to get them in position. It's all going to depend on where he sieges these up. But as you can see, Temeris is heavily ahead on his tank count. 4 tanks to 2. Vindicta's going to jump his Reapers here and try to get vision, but Temeris sends his Ravens over here, and now suddenly 3 tanks can't do anything. And Temeris is going to come down and clean this all up. Vindicta's going to lose everything. Nicely done there from Temeris, putting Vindicta on the back foot now. While simultaneously he's sending Reapers here into the natural, making Vindicta have to kind of pull his SCVs there for a moment. And now the red is starting to come across the map here. He's setting up here. He's going to siege his tanks. He's going to get himself into a good position where it's going to be disadvantageous here for Vindicta to engage. No third base here for Vindicta, so nothing really for Vindicta to defend down here. Temeris deciding to siege up just a little bit further back. Very cautious siege here from Temeris. Meanwhile, 4 more barracks are coming up here for Temeris, so this is going to get very aggressive very fast, considering he's building 4 more barracks and Vindicta's only got 2 more on the way. This could spiral out of control. Temeris is sieging up outside the base of Vindicta. Not sure why Vindicta landed his Vikings there. Temeris also has the the advantage here in the air, taking out a Viking there pretty much for free. So you want to be careful though. You don't want to throw that air advantage away too easy. It's all about the air here in this TVT war. You're going to want that vision. You're going to want to see where your siege tanks are shooting. Meanwhile, Temeris has his third base up. He's had his third base up here for a while. He's muling it. And meanwhile, Vindicta doesn't have anything over here for his third base. No third base here in sight for Vindicta. Temeris is just going to pick up and go. 4th command center on the way here for Temeris, so win ahead, get further ahead, as they say. Meanwhile, Vindicta's going to come out here and finally take his third base. 71 worker supply to 64 in favor of Temeris. 53 army supply to 50, also in favor of Temeris, only very slightly. Tank count is looking at 6 to 5, so Temeris is also ahead in that regard. Upgrades are 1-1 apiece, so they're both sitting even there. So Temeris is ahead in pretty much almost every aspect of this game. And we're going to have to see just how greedy Temeris is wanting to be here with this 4th command center. Is he going to use it for macro, or is he going to send it immediately over to his 4th? We have yet to see. Nice scan there from Vindicta. Sees the timing there on the command center. And now it's kind of just a waiting game. We're just kind of waiting to see which player attacks who first, who overextends first. The longer Temeris sits here, the more army he's going to get. Right now he's at 83 to 70, heavily in favor of him. And Vindicta's got this little force over here to try to stop drops, but Temeris hasn't really been dropping this game. It's all been about straightforward attacks here from Temeris. Vindicta is going to come up here and try to check this right side. Now, meanwhile, it looks like the 4th base is finally going down here for Temeris. So Temeris, he's going to get even further ahead here. 98 army supply to 84. Pretty even on workers. Temeris, though, being 1 base ahead now. And he's moving out here. He's going to probably siege up here onto this high ground. Vindicta is ready. He is moving his his army over to that left side to try to stop Temeris from just running in and targeting down his command center. There's so many more Marines here for Temeris, though. And this siege is going to start... Ooh. Takes out quite a bit of Marines, actually, and heavily damages one tank. One tank does go down there for Vindicta. Meanwhile, over here on the other side, Vindicta's going to try to run some Marines in here, but he gets shot at by a tank. He gets out of there. Temeris does stem and run in here and take out the other tank. Takes out a couple SCVs and the refinery, but he's just standing in siege tank fire now. He needs to move back a little bit. Meanwhile, Vindicta is setting up here, over here in the top right. Most likely going to do a counterattack. And upgrades now are finally starting to come in. Temeris is now way ahead. He's on 2-2, where Vindicta is just on 1-1. So if they are to engage here, Temeris is going to take quite an engagement. But Vindicta looks like he's just going to doom drop into the main here. Deciding to pick up that tank instead of those couple Marines. He's got to fly over this fourth base here. And doom drop right into the main. There are a couple Marines, but not enough to deal with this. Vindicta is going straight for the throat now, because he's on top of the tech. He's going to start firing at these barracks and at these factories and stop the production. Meanwhile, not much going over here on the right side from Temeris. Temeris is just kind of sitting there. Meanwhile, Vindicta is on top of all the barracks. He's taking them down. And Temeris is just not reacting. I feel like he could at least stem in here. There are a couple tanks, yeah, so maybe it wouldn't be such a wise choice, but he could do something here. He's just giving the game away, as Smoke Salmon says. And Vindicta gets out of there with only 2 medevacs. He does lose most of that drop. So 74 workers to 67 workers, still in favor of Temeris. I feel like it's like the never-ending story here. Temeris constantly ahead here, never giving Vindicta an opportunity to really even out this game. Even when Vindicta doom dropped his main, he maybe only lost a barracks or 2 and his add-ons for his factories, and now Temeris is moving out. He is getting stuck here in the center area here in the tall grass, but he will eventually get through there. Vindicta's towers will see this coming, though. And Temeris is going to move up here and takes quite a few tank shots and loses quite a few Marines there. A lot of the Vikings for Vindicta are sitting at the bottom. He is bringing them back now. And scans are just going down all the time because neither player wants to send their Vikings to their deaths. Right now, Temeris doesn't have anything as far as Vikings. He only's got 1 Viking left at the moment. So Vindicta definitely has the advantage here as far as his air army goes. Kind of going to force Temeris to back off here. Can't really get a good and advantageous position there to take on Vindicta. So he's going to come out here and take out these rocks. Meanwhile, we are finally now at 4 base Terran versus a 4 base Terran. 79 workers to 72. Temeris still ahead in the worker count. 119 army supply to 122. Vindicta pulling ahead in the army. Temeris kind of just throwing this away at this point. He had a huge lead for pretty much half the game. He's going to siege up here. What is Vindicta going to do about it, though? He sees it there with his sensor tower, so he knows it's there. Meanwhile, more and more red just continues to flood across the map for Temeris. And I feel like Vindicta is unsure where he wants to defend here. I feel like he felt like that attack on the top right was a red herring. So he moves his army down here to the south for this incoming attack. Nice defense there from Vindicta. Causes Temeris to pretty much back up with both sides of his army. Another command center floating down here for Temeris. So now we're going to get to 4 bases here. I guess this is just nuts, this game. Temeris was so far ahead, I felt like he could have stemmed in there and won pretty much at the middle of this game when there was nothing at that third. And now Vindicta has clawed his way back into this game. You can see Temeris has quite a huge lead when it comes to economy. over Vindicta. But you can't count Vindicta out of this. Vindicta was at DreamHack. Everyone knows about Vindicta. He's a very popular player. He is favored in this match. He is going to come up here with these Vikings and siege tanks. I think he's waiting for Temeris to pull his army over here, full army over here to the right, so that he could come in here down in the left. Temeris does scan and sees it, causes Vindicta to back up. Command center goes down. And looking at upgrades, we're at 3-3 for both players, so we're finally even here on upgrades. Temeris had an upgrade lead there for quite a while. Vindicta's got to come in here, stem, get a couple tanks for his troubles, but Temeris jumps on top of the army, takes out a tank. Nicely done there by Temeris. Meanwhile, Vindicta's just kind of leaving his army over here in the middle. And Temeris, I feel like he's sitting, once again, he's sitting in a pretty great spot. They're pretty even on army. Nice engagement there from Temeris. Takes out all the tanks. Only the Vikings being the survivors of that war. Vindicta does see this fourth base down here. He sieges a Liberator. There is a turret there. Vindicta sieges the Liberator in the turret's range, so kind of a mistake there from Vindicta. Once again, Temeris is unsure of how he wants to end this game. Marine versus Marine in favor of Vindicta. And the aggression seems to have slowed down a little bit. $75 workers, 259. Now in favor of Vindicta. Income kind of raggedy for both players. Vindicta is ahead about 600 minerals as far as income at the moment. But Temeris kind of threw this away a little bit. If he loses this engagement here, I would actually be completely shocked that Temeris threw this game. He's coming out here into the middle. Vindicta is aware of it because of his sensor towers. Of course, scans galore here. He's going to watch the movement here of Temeris. Meanwhile, there is a triple drop going down here in the bottom, going to hit the fourth of Vindicta. Meanwhile, Temeris is backing up with his army. Once again. Nice little drop here from Vindicta. He's going to siege up these tanks and put some pressure here on this planetary. Temeris is going to come with this little ragtag force here. He's going to try to defend it. You shouldn't have any issues with that. Yeah, he may take a couple siege tank shots. We should clean this up easily. Meanwhile, Vindicta is hitting with a double-pronged attack over here. He's going to try to take out these two command centers in this tank. Nice sieges there on the Liberators. Going to prevent the Marines from really getting on top of this army. Lots of Marines go down. 4 tanks completely unused at this point. Go down from Vindicta. Really loving the Raven play from Temeris. Pretty much making these siege tanks null and void here for Vindicta. And Temeris is going to move out here again. 75 SCVs to 54, heavily in favor of Vindicta. Temeris may feel like he has to do something here. Only 1 tank and a couple Marines. Second tank over here on the ramp to the natural. Lots of Vikings going to come in here and take out a couple Ravens, but still a few Ravens do survive. And once again, the tale of this game has been, you know, Temeris not letting Vindicta use those tanks. 7 Ravens to 0 Ravens, so you could definitely see where the Raven advantage is definitely favoring Temeris here. Meanwhile, there is a flying command center coming over here to take this top left base. Temeris sees it, but he's unsure if that's a unit or a building. Meanwhile, Temeris is just going to siege up here in the middle. And pretty crazy game 1 here from Temeris and Vindicta to start this match. Battlecruisers are on the way for Vindicta. So the fleet is coming. Ravens, though. So many Ravens. I feel like all Temeris really needs to do is keep getting his Ravens, and that's pretty much going to make Vindicta's tank army pretty much obsolete. Temeris is going to come in here and siege and take these Ravens. He actually loses one there. 106 army supply, 290. And Temeris sieges in there and takes out that expansion with ease. I'm pretty sure he's just going to unsiege him back up. Meanwhile, over here, there is a battlecruiser shooting at SCVs. Double turret should be able to take care of this. Vindicta is good on getting his battlecruiser out of there. He does land the double mule for the repair. So nicely done there by Vindicta. He should be able to jump right back in there and put more aggression on Temeris as soon as that battlecruiser is repaired up. More siege tanks are being sieged here. Pretty much one-shotting this command center. Down goes another command center from Vindicta. Meanwhile, Temeris is expanding behind this. The one battlecruiser is going to come over here and try to take out these SCVs, but Vindicta's in a spot now where he needs to get that expansion back up. 2 battlecruisers on the map here for Vindicta. And it doesn't really look like he's getting a lot done here with these battlecruisers. Yeah, he's putting a little bit of pressure down. He's killing a couple SCVs. But look at the income right now. Vindicta is slightly ahead in the income. Temeris, though, he does have a siege tank lead. 10 siege tanks to 5. Yamato about to complete here for Vindicta. Once the Ravens come in here clutch, and he's going to get a battlecruiser. Yep. Battlecruiser flies into the turrets, gets taken out here by Temeris. Meanwhile, Vindicta is going to move his large force over here to the top right and come over here towards Temeris' 6th base. Tanks are sieged up. Quite a few Marines go down. Vikings are going to try to take out all these Ravens. And for a second here, it almost looks like Vindicta has it. GG! Vindicta takes game number 1 in this best of 3. So Vindicta takes it, game number 1. Temeris kind of throwing that game away. And I don't mean kind of, I mean he did. He completely threw that game. Game number 2 is going to be on Oxide. Thank you everybody for sticking around and watching tonight. Alright. The game is up. Let's go. Little bit, almost thought I saw a little bit of banter there for a moment. No banter out of either player. They're just GLHF. But down here in the bottom left, the Terran from Alpha X. It is Vindicta. And up in the top right, our blue Terran. He needs to come back in order to take this series. He needs to win 2 games in a row. It's Temeris. So 1 gas out of both players and 1 barracks. So we're most likely to see a 1 barracks, 1 gas expand from both players. And just as I say that, I look down here and look at what Vindicta's doing. Double barracks proxy here out of Vindicta. It would help if I actually looked at where the barracks were being built. Vindicta is going to try to early this game in this game early here with some cheese. And Temeris has no idea. He hasn't sent an SCV out to scout, so he's not going to be able to see that there's no barracks in Vindicta's base. So we all know who's going to win this when it goes 2 barracks against 1. Please let me know who in chat you guys are rooting for. Vindicta is heavily favored on paper, but if you're a Temeris fan, definitely let me know. He is the underdog here today. And it looks like it's going to be double Reaper here out of Vindicta. So we may actually see a very quick game number 2 between these two players. Will Temeris be ready for this, though? Vindicta is deciding to pool his Reapers together, so I just think this is going to be an instant GG as soon as he jumps in there with those Reapers. 1 Reaper on the map. 3 are about to be here for Vindicta. He jumps in. He immediately focuses this 1 Reaper. SCVs are being pulled. And things are already starting to snowball a little bit here. 1 Hellion is on the way here for Temeris, so this may be his saving grace. Reapers are still continuing to get churned out here from Vindicta. You got 4 Reapers on the map to 2. 1 more on the way for Temeris. This actually might be a really great hole from Temeris if he can get this 2nd Hellion out. Nicely done from Temeris to be able to defend that. Didn't take too much damage. I feel like he's sitting in an advantageous spot now, considering he is now putting down his 2nd command center, whereas Vindicta is just stuck on this double proxy all in. So, nicely done there from Temeris. Vindicta is going to get in there with one of his barracks. Gonna take a look at what Temeris is up to. Vindicta being very aggressive with these Reapers, knowing that there are Hellions on the map. Very micro-oriented play here out of Vindicta. But once this Cyclone comes out, this is pretty much going to shut this down. And Vindicta's not going to have any option here but to retreat. Meanwhile, Vindicta on the other side is building his 2nd command center. So he's going to try to get back into the macro-oriented game here from this all-in. And for a second there, Vindicta was thinking about landing his barracks in the natural, which would have been a very sneaky thing to do. But I don't think Temeris is just ready yet to send that send that command center down to his natural expansion. Vindicta is able to see pretty much everything that Temeris is up to at the moment. Barracks does go down. And once again, it looks like Temeris is going to be ahead once again, just like in the last game. He's going to bring his natural down a lot quicker. Vindicta is just now sending it down. It is not an orbital command, so there is a slight difference here. Temeris does have his gas in his natural. So does Vindicta, so things are starting to kind of normalize a little bit. 28 workers to 32 in favor of Temeris. 26 army supply to 15, also in favor of Temeris. He's going to move out here with these Reapers and Hellions and this Cyclone and see what he can get done. He's going to spot there is no 3rd base. He's going to see these 4 Reapers, though. Immediately, 1 goes down. A 2nd one goes down. Meanwhile, there is a dropship up here with 2 Cyclones in it, so a Cyclone drop here out of Vindicta. Not much here in terms of defense for Temeris, just 1 tank, not sieged. So a little Cyclone drop there from Vindicta, pretty cute. He drops them, gets 2 SCVs, and gets out. Meanwhile, Temeris is going to come across the map with his Reaper and Hellion force. Nicely done there from Temeris. Meanwhile, Vindicta is going to try to be as active as he can with this dropship, considering he was pretty much playing from a disadvantageous position. 35 workers to 40 in favor of Temeris. Another drop here coming in from Vindicta. Pretty interesting idea to be able to drop the Cyclones there and abuse their range and get them out before your enemy can respond. Doesn't really do too much damage, but it is keeping Temeris busy, allowing Vindicta to get back into this game. Temeris does have a few units sitting out front of Vindicta's natural expansion, so he knows that there's nothing else coming. He knows this is pretty much all Vindicta's got on the map for now. 3 siege tanks to 3 siege tanks, 2 ravens to 2 ravens. Only difference being a couple more SCVs on the field here for Temeris. Double factory coming down for Vindicta. So we may see mech here from Vindicta instead of his normal bio mech composition. Temeris does send his 3rd expansion down here, so he is going to be able to start mining from his stern a lot quicker than Vindicta. Meanwhile, Vindicta's Raven's going to come in here and just try to be annoying with this turret. Does get shot down from Temeris, but all the SCVs have been vacated pretty much from Temeris' natural expansion. And finally, these units at the front door of Vindicta are shooed away. Nice scan there from Vindicta. Sees the timing there on the 3rd base. Knows that he needs to do something or else he's going to fall behind economically. What is the plan going to be here from Vindicta? Temeris is moving out here with these Hellions and these Ravens. And he's meeting up with his Marine and Tank force here. 55 army supply to 50, so they are quite even in terms of army. Temeris only slightly ahead. Raven goes down from Temeris, so nice engagement there from Vindicta, focusing that down. More Ravens on the ground for Vindicta. Fighting into auto turrets with Vikings. Very strange choice there from Vindicta. Defends it, and now Temeris is forced to back up, only having 3 tanks and a couple Marines left after that push. Temeris is getting his armory, while Vindicta continues to build more and more factories. 2 more factories on the way for Vindicta. Very interesting play here out of Vindicta. How many factories does he have? 5 factories. So 5 factories for Vindicta. Definitely going mech, whereas Temeris is going for a more bio-mech army. And Vindicta is churning out 2 tanks at a time, whereas Temeris is only building 1. So Vindicta is going to heavily pull ahead here in the tank count. 7 tanks to 6. So they were even there, but it's going to skyrocket here from Vindicta the longer he builds these 2 tanks at a time. Upgrades are in favor of Temeris. He is sitting at 1-1 for his Bioforce. Nothing as far as tank upgrades here for Temeris. Blue Flame coming up for Vindicta. Very interesting choice there. How many Blue Flame? How many Hellions does he have? Vindicta has 4 Hellions, so very interesting choice to go for Blue Flame, considering he's not really devoted too much to his Hellions. And Temeris is super turtley right now, so I don't think that Vindicta's going to get too many Hellions in there. Tanks are sieged up at the 3rd. And Temeris is building a wall around his command center over here at the natural expansion. Here comes the Hellions, though. Vindicta's going to try to get something done anyway. Marine spots it from Temeris. Sees that there's nothing there over at the 4th. Takes out the Marine, and he just gets out of there. Thank you, everyone, for watching tonight. If you haven't already, please give a follow so you guys can stay up to date with these tournaments. Greatly appreciate all the support that you guys give me tonight. This is my last night here of the group stages. Stars Fall Dim will cast the 3rd and 4th days. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in yesterday and today. Temeris did try to get in there with a couple Marines, but the tanks shoot him away. He's going to come around the corner here. And I think Vindicta was thinking about going for a drop there for a moment. Temeris coming in here with his Marines. He's going to take down the sensor tower. Lots of Hellbats and Vikings, though, to shoo him away. Vindicta is moving across the map now. 123 army supply to 110. Temeris is actually favored here with the army supply. 15 tanks to 9. So Vindicta is favored as far as tank count. So many tanks. So many tanks. So much Marine and Marauder go down there. Temeris pretty much throwing everything away. And everything goes down by Temeris. Vindicta with a very nice engagement there. GG. And Vindicta takes the series 2-0. So there you have it. Vindicta versus Temeris. Vindicta takes it 2-0. Just want to give shout outs to everyone who followed today. Pika Pow followed, Omega, JLTT, Blarg, Skater followed. Thank you to Civ7 for the follow. Thank you everyone for following. Over on the right side, you can see what little of that bracket I have available there. But today is Group B, and tomorrow, I believe, will be Group C. It looks like it's Simper, BioIce, Ryuchi, and Eurythia? I'm not sure how to say that last name. But Group D definitely looks to be exciting. It's got Antis and Warren in it, so Zerg players definitely tune in for Group D. And I'm just going to take a quick 1-minute break before we get into the final match of the night. It's going to be Dolan versus Temeris. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My child, and embrace the glory that is your birthright. Know that I am the Overmind, the eternal will of the Swarm, and that you have been created to serve me. Serve the Hive. I control the groove. Serve the Hive. I control the groove. Serve the Hive. I control the way you move. How you like my groove, Dagoth? Well done.
Sorry about that, guys. I actually have my mic muted. But as you guys saw, there really wasn't much to cast. It was just an instant double proxy racks both games. So, sorry about that. Obvious mistakes some people sometimes make. But a very anticlimactic ending there to an otherwise great day here in Group B. And as you can see here, Group C and Group D are coming up here tomorrow and the day after. So please tune in for that. I greatly appreciate all the follows tonight. Once again, I'm sorry about the muted mic. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Any closing comments anyone wants to say about the games, I'd be glad to talk about it. Otherwise, that's it for me. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please tune in tomorrow for Group C as Stars Fall Dim casts it. Very fast last match. I was actually expecting that to go a little bit longer. But Dolan quickly taking the 2-0. I hope everyone enjoyed the matches tonight. My favorite match of the night would probably be Vindicta versus Dolan, the first match of the evening. So if you have the time, go back and watch the VOD. These will be up on YouTube. And I also did yesterday's Group A with Peely Peely and Maples and Hunta and Zero. So that was a great group as well. So please go check that out. All the love to you guys. I hope you guys have a great evening. Stay safe.